Chapter 1566. Looking at the broken sword in Lin Tian's hand, all the outer sect disciples who came to watch the show were stunned. A half-step true immortal actually had a broken golden immortal artifact, which was a super treasure. At the same time, the group of powerful intersect disciples and the intersect residents also saw the broken sword in Lin Tian's hand, and all of them were shocked. You actually have? These intersect disciples were shocked. The weakest among them was an early-stage true immortal, and the strongest was a peak true immortal. However, the strongest precious weapon was only a peak true immortal artifact. But Lin Tian, who was only a half-step true immortal, actually had a broken golden immortal artifact. It was a golden immortal artifact. Even if it was broken, its power was extremely terrifying. It was invincible against a complete golden immortal artifact. Lin Tian glanced at these people. He raised his hand, and the broken golden immortal artifact in his hand suddenly let out an ear-piercing sword sound. Clang! The dense sword lights immediately swung out, and the sword lights were like raindrops as they slashed towards the crowd. The sword beam was somewhat terrifying. It was the result of Lin Tian's 10 times amplification of his combat power and a damaged gold immortal artifact. The average true immortal stage cultivator would be incapable of blocking it. In just the blink of an eye, a high number of inner disciples were pierced through, and all of them were sent flying like scarecrows. Such a scene caused all the outer sect disciples outside the inner sect residential district to feel a chill in their hearts. This attack was too terrifying. Boom! Not far away, a powerful divine power rushed up. Duan Xingxian, who was sent flying by Lin Tian's sword, stood up. His eyes became extremely cold, like two sharp blades, and there was a terrible murderous intent in them that was vast and mighty. "You're courting death." His voice was cold, and all kinds of divine light appeared around him. A true immortal artifact was summoned, and the immortal Tao precepts were also manifested. He was the number one in the inner sect, but he was sent flying and seriously injured by Lin Tian, a half-step true immortal outer sect disciple. For a moment, a very terrifying wave of energy suddenly spread out, causing everyone's heart to tremble. Even some of the inner disciples of the intermediate stage of true immortal couldn't help but tremble. All of them felt that Duan Xingxian was angry at this time. "You've angered senior brother Duan. Even if your combat power is boosted by the Baodan and you have an incomplete golden immortal item, you will still die," a brown-clothed inner disciple said coldly. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. He didn't even look at this person. He directly slashed out with his sword. An array of sword light instantly arrived. The one who spoke was the inner disciple in brown robes. He was furious. "You, pooh." The sword light was so fast that the inner disciple couldn't dodge it at all. His chest was pierced through, and blood splashed everywhere. Boom! Divine power intertwined. At this time, the aura on Duan Xingxian's body was even more shocking. The true immortal artifact intertwined and filled the sky. It was a short blade, which was at the level of a peak true immortal artifact. The law of the immortal path was also very shocking and terrifying. He looked at Lin Tian. At this time he moved. Even if Lin Tian had an incomplete golden immortal artifact, he didn't care at all. His current aura was much stronger than Lin Tian when his combat power was boosted, and he had an incomplete golden immortal artifact. He wanted to kill Lin Tian. Facing Duan Xingxian's attack, Lin Tian didn't dodge, but faced it head-on. Behind him, the reincarnation diagram rushed up and immediately emitted the strongest and most holy light, like a saint diagram that opened the sky. At the same time, the nameless law of the great path intertwined together, and in the blink of an eye, it condensed into the reincarnation diagram of the great path. As soon as the reincarnation diagram of the great path appeared, a wave of pressure spread out in an instant, and the earth shook violently. In the next moment, the two collided with a rumble. Ka! Ka! Crack! Astonishing divine power surged, and in this place the ground collapsed inch by inch. Around them, there was a terrifying hall that broke apart. Then, in the next moment, a figure flew out in a sorry state, covered in blood. It was Duan Xingxian, and the immortal Dao law that he had activated was directly crushed. His whole body was once again full of cracks, and blood kept gushing out. Senior Brother Duan. Impossible! The group of inner sect disciples turned pale. They were the strongest among the inner sect disciples, and they had activated a true immortal artifact and immortal Dao law, but now they were still knocked back by Lin Tiany's attack. They coughed up large mouthfuls of blood, and the immortal Dao law was forcibly crushed. At the same time, outside the inner sect residence area, the group of outer sect disciples who were watching the show were all shocked. Arg! Duan Xingxian was knocked back by Lin Tian, and he let out a roar like an enraged demonic dragon, and the immortal Dao law was activated again. It was also at this time that Lin Tian's figure appeared in front of him, and he slashed down with the black broken sword in his right hand and the Great Path Reincarnation Scroll in his left hand. He activated the divine power that had increased his combat strength by 10 times, and they all fell on Duan Xingxian's body. Poof! Duan Xingxian was knocked back again, and the true immortal artifact short blade that protected his body was shattered by Lin Tian's black broken sword. Lin Tian stepped forward and directly caught up with Duan Xingxian, who was flying out, and the black broken sword mercilessly slashed down. Clang! A sharp sword light slashed out from the black broken sword, and it landed directly on Duan Xingxian's body. With a poof, this time, Duan Xingxian's physical body was directly smashed into pieces, and he exploded into a cloud of blood mist where he stood. Arc! Duan Xingxian's divine soul roared, and in the blink of an eye, he reformed his physical body. However, he had just reformed his physical body when Lin Tian's black broken sword came down again. The broken black sword was a broken golden celestial artifact, but its power was extremely terrifying. Under such pressure, it once again shattered Duan Xingxian, who had regathered his physical body. You brought all the inner disciples and destroyed our residence. Do you think you're so great? Who do you think you are? Lin Tian's voice was cold. As he said this, he did not show any mercy. His tenfold combat strength, the Great Path Reincarnation Scroll, and the black broken sword swung down again and again. Every time Duan Xingxian reformed his physical body, it would be shattered again. Gradually, Duan Xingxian's breath became weaker and weaker. Under Lin Tian's violent and fierce attacks, he could not help but scream. In the end, he was knocked to the ground by Lin Tian like a pile of mud and could not move. Lin Tian raised his leg and kicked him in the chest. Duan Xingxian screamed again and fainted. This, Senior Brother Duan, how is this possible? Everyone was dumbfounded. They were shocked by this scene until their expressions changed. An inner disciple, Duan Xingxian, who was at the peak of the true immortal realm, was knocked unconscious by Lin Tian. Lin Tian tilted his head, moved his foot away from Duan Xingxian's chest, and looked at the other inner disciples. There were many inner disciples in this place, and there were hundreds of them who had not fallen. Holding the black broken sword, he closed in on the hundreds of inner disciples. They destroyed his whooshing crocodiles and little Taichu's residences. These people were all responsible, and no one could get away with it. Clang! The black, broken sword in his hand vibrated, and it let out a piercing sound. The dense sword light directly slashed at the hundreds of inner disciples. In the blink of an eye, blood splattered, and one inner disciple after another was sent flying. These inner disciples were very powerful, and the weakest among them was at the true immortal realm. However, Lin Tian's combat strength was 10 times stronger than a cultivator at the early stage of the true immortal realm. With the help of the broken golden immortal weapon, even Duan Xingxian, who was at the peak of the true immortal realm, was knocked unconscious. How could these ordinary inner disciples withstand his attack? The screams of the inner disciples could be heard continuously. Such a scene caused the crowd of outer court disciples who were watching the show from outside the inner court residential area to tremble in fear. Soon after, while the battle was still ongoing, the news of what was happening here spread throughout the entire Purple Shao treasure sect at an extremely fast speed, causing everyone to be shocked. What? That Lin Tian, the new outer disciple who just joined the sect, went to the inner disciples because his residence was destroyed. He attacked all the inner disciples together, and he defeated Duan Xingxian. He's just an outer disciple with the cultivation level of a half-step true immortal. How could he defeat Duan Xingxian, the top inner disciple? Let's go and have a look. I'll go too. Immediately, more and more cultivators headed toward the inner disciples' residences. At the same time, due to the commotion, even the ordinary elders in the elders' pavilion were alarmed. An outer disciple dared to break into the inner disciples' residences and attacked all the inner disciples together. This had never happened before in the history of the Purple Shao treasure sect. An old man in a gray robe smashed a yellow jade table in the elders' pavilion. Faint golden immortal qi intertwined around his body. Then, he walked out of the elders' pavilion with a dark expression. Duan Qini, that old man, is angry. His nephew was knocked unconscious by an outer disciple. How can he not be angry? Let's go and have a look. In the elders' pavilion, some other elders followed him. Almost at the same time, a cute little girl around the age of 13 or 14 walked in from outside the Purple Shao treasure sect. She was wearing a tattered green dress and looked very cute. She also heard the commotion in the Purple Shao treasure sect. Lin Tian? No way. What a coincidence. The little girl was shocked. Then, she quickly ran toward the inner disciples' residences. In the inner disciples' residences of the Purple Shao treasure sect, Lin Tian, you damn it! How dare you do this? The sect will not let you go. Miserable shrieks reverberated throughout the inner sect residence. Lin Tian wielded the black broken sword and activated it with his tenfold combat strength. Sharp and fierce sword chi swept through the inner sect residence, seemingly unrivaled in the half-step true immortal realm. Not a single inner sect disciple could withstand it. One after another, they were sent flying. Miserable shrieks, angry shouts, threats, and curses rang out one after another. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. He did not say a word. Instead, he continued to attack. Sword chi was slashed out in all directions. He never took the initiative to cause trouble, but he was never afraid of trouble. These inner disciples had gathered together to destroy the residences of him, the Wuxing crocodile, and the little Taichu. They had trampled on their dignity. This really made him angry. He had to vent his anger. Today, he would beat all the inner disciples to the ground. Bang! 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 Groans and screams continued. One by one, the inner disciples were sent flying by him. Blood splattered everywhere. Although no one in the inner disciples' residences had died, the ground was already stained with blood. How dare you? Chapter 1567. A shout came from afar, mixed with a terrifying golden immortal chi. It was like a rolling tsunami pressing down on the inner sect residence area. In the blink of an eye, a dozen old men arrived in the air. They arrived at the residential area of the inner sect disciples in the blink of an eye. All of them exuded a bloody aura that was extremely frightening, like a dozen blazing furnaces. They are the elders. The crowd of cultivators changed their expressions. Lin Tian stopped his actions and looked at the dozen or so old men who were flying towards him. Among the dozen old men, a gray-robed old man came the fastest and stood at the front of the group. At this time, he glanced at the inner sect residence area that was stained with blood and saw many inner sect disciples lying on the ground. Soon, he saw Duan Xingxian, who was seriously injured and unconscious in the distance. A cold light flashed in his eyes. In addition to this person, the other dozen old men were shocked. Before they came here, they had already learned a lot of things. They knew that Lin Tian, an outer sect disciple, had made a mess in the inner sect residence area and seriously injured Duan Xingxian, the #1 inner sect disciple, until he fainted. However, when they arrived at the scene and saw the inner sect disciples lying on the ground and the blood-stained ground, they could not help but be shocked. Elders, this person has just joined the sect not long ago, but he used a special method to brutally injure one of our inner sect disciples. For this, we only gave him a small warning, but he directly broke into our inner sect residence area and relied on a treasure medicine that temporarily increased his strength and a broken golden immortal sword to make a mess in our inner sect. We can't let him go. Elders, please make a decision for us and punish him severely. One of the inner sect disciples said. Lin Tian's expression was cold, and he did not say a word. He did not have the slightest emotional reaction to this person's accusation. A group of inner sect disciples was beaten by an outer sect disciple until they couldn't fight back. No matter what the reason is, it's a shameful thing. How dare you say that you want the sect elders to make a decision for you? Don't you feel ashamed? And Shui mocked. They're just a group of trash. They don't have any shame. Wuxing Crocodile sneered. Trash. Little Taichu echoed in a childish voice. The face of the inner disciple who spoke suddenly froze, and then it turned ashen. At the same time, some of the other inner court disciples' faces also became very ugly, and their cheeks became hot. Enough! Among the dozen elders, the elder in the gray robe had a cold expression. His gaze fell on Lin Tian and the others. Do you admit to your crimes? Guilty? May I ask, elder, what crime have we committed? Lin Tian looked at the gray-robed elder, his expression unchanged. Even if the other party was a golden immortal, he did not have the slightest fear. The gray-robed elder's expression was cold as he looked at Lin Tiandao. As an outer sect disciple, you barged into the inner sect and injured your fellow disciples. Tell me, what crime did you commit? Elder, you only mentioned that we barged into the inner sect and injured people. Why didn't you mention that before that, everyone in the inner sect attacked together and destroyed our residence and trampled on our dignity? Did you not know about this, or did you deliberately not mention it? Lin Tiandao. Now that they had barged into the residential area of the inner sect and injured people, and this matter was so chaotic, he did not believe that this person did not know the cause and effect of this matter. No matter what reason you have, it can't hide the fact that you're guilty of injuring your fellow disciples. The gray-robed elder said coldly. Clearly, as Lin Tian expected, he knew the cause and effect of this matter. Is that so? Elder, are you saying that even if our reason for attacking is right and proper, we're still guilty? Lin Tiandao, how dare you? Who do you think you were to question Elder Duan like this? The inner court disciple who spoke earlier scolded Lin Tian. Then he looked at the gray-robed elder and said, Elder Duan, and the other elders, look. This person has just entered the sect and is already so arrogant. He injured his fellow disciples one after another, and now he dares to question the elders. Such insolence and disrespect to the elders must be severely punished. When Lin Tian heard this, he narrowed his eyes and said, Elder Duan? He glanced at Duan Xingxian, who was knocked unconscious by him in the distance, and sneered. Elder Duan must be Duan Xingxian's uncle. Why? Are you unhappy that Duan Xingxian was beaten so badly by me after he challenged me? He had heard that Duan Xingxian had an elder uncle in the golden immortal realm in the purple Xiao treasure sect. Even some of his successor disciples were very polite to him. Now that he heard the inner court disciple call the gray-robed elder Duan, and the gray-robed elder especially looked at the seriously injured and unconscious Duan Xingxian, he instantly guessed the identity of the gray-robed elder. He was definitely Duan Xingxian's uncle. For Duan Xingxian's sake, this person deliberately did not mention the cause of this matter. It was obvious that he wanted to deal with Duan Xingxian because he knocked Duan Xingxian unconscious. How dare you? How dare you talk back to the elders? The inner court disciple who spoke scolded again. Lin Tian raised his hand and directly slashed with his sword. With a clang, the inner court disciple who spoke was pierced through in the blink of an eye, causing him to immediately scream in pain. Lin Tian's slash was really powerful. It was a slash made with 10 times the combat strength and an incomplete golden immortal weapon. Trash who only knows how to bark. Get lost, he said coldly. Such a scene made the hearts of the cultivators palpitate. This Lin Tian, questioning the elders, talking back to the elders, and seriously injuring an inner court disciple in front of the elders. This is simply too powerful. Some of the cultivators could not help but tremble. The gray-robed elder's name was Duan Xiani, and he was indeed Duan Xingxian's uncle. It was also because he learned that Duan Xingxian was beaten unconscious by Lin Tian that he felt a chill in his heart. Even though he knew that it was Duan Xingxian who brought people to cause trouble first, he still wanted to convict Lin Tian and punish Lin Tian. At this time, Lin Tian questioned him, talked back to him, and even attacked the inner court disciple who helped him scold in front of him. This showed that he did not take him seriously at all, and his eyes immediately flashed with killing intent. Seriously injuring a fellow disciple and talking back to the elders. Combined with these two crimes, I sentence you to death. Duan Xinyi said coldly. After he finished speaking, he raised his hand and pressed down on Lin Tian. For a moment, there was a rumbling sound. The aura of a golden immortal intertwined with an incomparably violent fluctuation and directly pressed down on Lin Tian. Behind Duan Xinyi, the other elders watched as Duan Xinyi pressed down on Lin Tian, but they did not react. In their opinion, if it wasn't for the fact that Lin Tian had consumed a treasured pill that could increase his strength and relied on an incomplete gold immortal artifact to defeat the group of inner court disciples, they would have definitely stopped Duan Xinyi. After all, he was definitely a super freak to be able to defeat a group of outer court disciples without relying on treasured pills and incomplete gold immortal artifacts. They would not let the sect lose such a genius. However, the current situation was that they could clearly see that Lin Tian defeated the group of inner court disciples with the help of the improved strength of the Baodan and the broken golden immortal sword. Therefore, even though they knew that Lin Tian was not wrong, they did not stop Duan Xinyi from killing Lin Tian. After all, Duan Xinyi was an elder of the sect, so they naturally had to give him some face. As for the life and death of an outer court disciple, they obviously did not care. With a rumbling sound, in the blink of an eye, Duan Xinyi's big hand pressed down on Lin Tian. The faint aura of a golden immortal sealed the surroundings, which was far stronger than the aura of a genuine immortal. Lin Tian felt threatened and did not dare to be careless. He activated the broken golden immortal artifact in his hand to resist the attack. Bang! Under the palm, he was immediately sent flying, and blood spilled out of his mouth. Now, he was 10 times stronger than before, and with the help of the broken golden immortal artifact, he was invincible against anyone below the half-step golden immortal level. However, it was impossible for him to have the ability to fight against a golden immortal. Lin Tian's and Shui's expression changed. Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu also quickly flashed over. Old bastard, it was your King nephew who was in the wrong first, and now you want to deal with us like this? Wuxing Crocodile said angrily. Duan Xinyi's face became even colder, and he attacked again. This time, the intertwining golden immortal chi in his big hand was even thicker. It was like the Milky Way was pressing down on Lin Tian. At the same time, this palm also enveloped in Shui, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu. It was obvious that he wanted to kill them all. The powerful aura of a golden immortal was almost suffocating. Seeing this scene, the group of inner disciples sneered. They looked at Lin Tianyi and the others with hatred in their eyes. Stop! A crisp voice rang out. A figure flashed quickly and appeared beside Lin Tian. It was a little girl of 13 or 14 years old. She was wearing a tattered green dress and looked a little cute. Duan Xinyi's expression changed immediately, and the destructive palm print was stopped. At the same time, the other elders behind Duan Xinyi also changed their expressions. Lin Tian and the others were also surprised at this time. Of course, they all recognized this little girl. Why are you here? Lin Tian looked at the little girl and asked. This little girl was Ning Yiye, whom they met when they returned to the sect. At that time, Ning Yiye was being chased by a tyrannical fierce ape, and he saved her. You're injured. Does it hurt? Ning Yiye didn't answer Lin Tian's question. At this time, she looked at the blood at the corner of Lin Tian's mouth and asked with concern. Lin Tian wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said with a smile, I'm fine. In the void, a dozen golden immortal elders, including Duan Xinyi, all landed in front of Ning Yiye in the blink of an eye. Yeah, why are you here? Didn't you cultivate with your grandpa today? One of the round-faced elders laughed, then looked at Lin Tian and asked suspiciously, "Do you know each other?" Some of the other elders looked at Ning Ye with smiles on their faces. They were as kind as they could be. Then they looked at Lin Tianyi and the others. As far as they were concerned, Ning Ye and Lin Tian and the others seemed to know each other. Everyone who saw this scene stared with wide eyes. Who is that little girl? She seems to be in the Nirvana realm, but the elders are so polite to her? Everyone was surprised. Even Lin Tian and Shui, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu were a little surprised. Obviously, they could see that the dozen golden immortal elders were very gentle to Ning Ye. It could even be said that they were afraid of her. Chapter 1568. Duan Xinyi instantly felt his scalp go numb when he heard Ning Ye. According to Ning Ye's words, injuring Lin Tian was equivalent to bullying the founder of the Violet Harmony Treasure Sect. This was simply like giving him the label of deceiving his master and destroying his ancestors. No, I was just joking with him, and I accidentally injured him. Duan Xinyi explained with an embarrassed smile, and the coldness he felt when facing Lin Tian earlier had already flown away. At this time, he was so regretful that his intestines turned green. No matter what, he would never have thought that Lin Tian would actually be Ning Ye's savior. If he had known, even if he had 10 times the courage, he wouldn't have dared to make a move against Lin Tian. Because the person before him was the direct descendant of the founder of the Violet Harmony Treasure Sect. Her grandfather was currently at the mysterious immortal realm, and he was the #1 supreme elder of the Violet Harmony Treasure Sect. He doted on his only granddaughter to the extreme. Normally, even the sect master of the Violet Harmony Treasure Sect had to be courteous to Ning Ye, as he was deeply afraid of accidentally offending her. "Do you think Ye is blind? That I can't see that you're really attacking me, and that I can't sense your killing intent?" Ning Ye was even angrier. Duan Xinyi was speechless. Lin Tian looked at Ning Ye with slight surprise. Duan Xinyi, who was filled with killing intent earlier, was actually so fearful when facing Ning Ye, who was around 13 years old and was only at the rebirth realm. It was simply like a mouse that had seen a cat. And Shui, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu were naturally shocked as well. "This little girl is quite capable," Wuxing Crocodile muttered to himself. At the same time, all the disciples in the inner sect residence area trembled. When Duan Xinyi arrived, all of them thought that Lin Tian was dead for sure. They didn't expect that a little girl would suddenly rush out at this time, calling Lin Tian her savior and angrily rebuking Duan Xinyi. And Duan Xinyi, a golden immortal elder, had a face full of fear. Duan Xinyi's face was a little pale, and he was at a loss for words. This is what happened. He broke into the inner sect alone and seriously injured a large group of inner sect disciples. As an elder, this old man wanted to give him some punishment, so you still dare to say such things. Do you think Ye doesn't know anything? Ning Ye glared at him angrily. Ye heard everything on the way here. He's obviously not in the wrong. It was that Duan Xingxian who brought everyone from the inner sanctum to stir up trouble. Duan Xingxian is your nephew. Are you purposely finding trouble with him because he injured Duan Xingxian? Seeing Ning Ye glaring at him angrily, Duan Xinyi's face became even paler, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Ning Ye looked at the other elders beside Duan Xinyi. "And you guys, why didn't you stop him just now?" Even Ye, who just came back from outside, heard the whole thing in a short time. "Don't tell me you don't know. You clearly knew that Lin Tian wasn't in the wrong. It was Duan Xingxian and all the inner sect disciples who stirred up trouble first. But you still watch him attack Lin Tian. You didn't stop him from attacking Lin Tian. You also injured Lin Tian like he did. You were also bullying Ye. You bastards. That Ye, don't be angry. This isn't he fine now? He's fine? Yes, he's fine now. That's right." When they saw Ning Ye glaring angrily at them, the expressions of all the elders went pale, and all of them trembled before smiling apologetically. This was the living ancestor of the Violet Firmament Treasure Sect. Everyone at the elder rank or above in the Violet Firmament Treasure Sect knew one thing, and that was that in the Violet Firmament Treasure Sect, they would rather offend the number one Supreme Elder at the mysterious immortal realm than offend this person before them. How is he fine? Are all of your eyes blind? He's even bleeding. Ning Yiye was extremely furious, and she pointed at Duan Xianyi and the other elders. All of you apologized to him. The surrounding disciples of the Violet Firmament Treasure Sect couldn't help but tremble when they heard this. A little girl at the Rebirth Realm had angrily rebuked over 10 golden immortal realm elders, and now she even asked them to apologize to an outer court disciple like Lin Tian. This caused many people to stare with their eyes wide open. Lin Tian looked at the 13 or 14-year-old Ning Yiye. Even though he didn't know Ning Yiye's exact identity at this moment, he knew that Ning Yiye possessed great power in the Violet Firmament Treasure Sect. Now, Ning Yiye had angrily rebuked over 10 golden immortal realm elders for him, and then asked them to apologize to him. She was protecting him like this, and it caused him to feel warm in his heart. On the other side, the expressions of Duan Xianyi and the other elders changed slightly. The expressions of all the elders became extremely unsightly. All of them were respected elders of the sect with cultivations at the golden immortal realm. Now, if they were to apologize to an outer court disciple, and it was in front of all the other disciples, then where would they put their face in the future? All of you aren't willing? Ning Yiye glared at them angrily. In the next moment, she made a few hand seals, and in an instant, the entire Violet Firmament Treasure Sect shook. Dense array runes intertwined and covered every inch of the void of the Violet Firmament Treasure Sect. A wave of terrifying killing intent spread out in an instant, as if it was going to cut everything into pieces, causing everyone in this place to tremble involuntarily. Sect guarding killing array. An outer court disciple swallowed a mouthful of saliva hard. This is the sect guarding killing array of the Violet Firmament Treasure Sect? Lin Tian was also shocked. This killing array was not weak. It was a complete peak profound immortal level killing array, and it was enough to threaten ordinary profound immortals. He looked at Ning Yiye and was even more shocked. Even though he could see that Ning Yiye had great power in the Violet Firmament Treasure Sect from the expressions of Duan Xianyi and the others, he didn't expect her power to be so great that she could control the sect guarding killing array of the Violet Firmament Treasure Sect. It should be known that the sect guarding killing array of a sect was generally controlled by the sect leader and the Supreme Elder. Boom! Dense killing runes appeared one after another, and the terrifying killing aura was vast and mighty, shaking the entire Violet Firmament Treasure Sect. The terrifying killing aura was appalling. Ning Yiye glared at the elders angrily. If you don't apologize to him, Yiye will use this killing array to kill you all. When the elders heard this, they instantly had goosebumps all over their bodies. This was the sect guarding killing array of the Violet Firmament Treasure Sect, a peak profound immortal level killing array. How could their small bodies withstand such a killing array? Don't. Yiye, don't. We'll apologize. We'll apologize right now. At that moment, the elders all gave in. They didn't say anything unnecessary, and all looked at Lin Tian. Every one of them bowed and apologized to Lin Tian. Their attitude was extremely serious, and they didn't dare to pretend at all. They were afraid that Ning Yiye would use the sect guarding killing array to kill them if she was dissatisfied. If that really happened, they would be finished in the blink of an eye. This scene made all the disciples of the Violet Firmament Treasure Sect widen their eyes. Some of them couldn't help but feel a chill down their spine. More than a dozen elders of the golden immortal level actually apologized to an outer sect disciple. They apologized to an outer sect disciple. Lin Tian saw this group of elders carefully apologizing to him and even bowing 90 degrees, and he felt quite satisfied. Yes, is that enough? The elders' faces were slightly pale. A dignified sect elder of the golden immortal realm had to apologize to an outer sect disciple in front of all the disciples. They had lost all their face. Among them, the elders except Duan Xianyi were simply furious. Of course, they weren't angry at Ning Yiye. They didn't dare to. They were angry at Duan Xianyi. If it weren't for Duan Xinyi attacking Lin Tian, they wouldn't have offended Ning Yi and wouldn't have been forced to apologize to an outer sect disciple. At this time, Duan Xinyi was extremely angry with Duan Xingxian. He couldn't wait to wake Duan Xingxian up immediately and then slap him unconscious. Of all the people to provoke, he actually provoked Ning Yi's savior and embarrassed him. Ning Yi looked at the elders, and her eyes fell on Duan Xinyi. You attacked and hurt him. It's not enough to just apologize. In the next year, you're not allowed to receive the salary that the sect should give you. You'll be deprived of it. Duan Xinyi trembled. As an elder of the sect, he naturally had a lot of benefits. He had a very high salary every month, and the value of a year's salary added up was amazing. I'll listen to you, Yi, he said and forced a smile. Although he felt very uncomfortable, he didn't dare to complain at all. But in his heart, he scolded Duan Xingxian fiercely. He couldn't wait to walk over and kick Duan Xingxian a few times. Such a scene made all the disciples of the Purple Walk Treasure sect tremble slightly. Depriving an elder of his salary was something that only the sect master and the supreme elder were qualified to do. But now, a 13-year-old little girl had directly said so, and as an elder, Duan Xinyi didn't even dare to show the slightest bit of dissatisfaction. Ning Yi snorted and looked away from Duan Xinyi and the others. She looked at the inner sect disciples in the inner sect residence area and said, "Your business is done. It's their turn," she said. Yi learned everything during the process of coming here. They are all guilty. In the next 3 years, you'll deprive them of all the cultivation resources given by the sect. You're not allowed to give them any. Hearing this, the inner sect disciples who were still conscious in the inner sect residence area all turned pale and trembled together. Like those big forces and sects in the starry sky, the sects in the immortal realm would also give their disciples a certain amount of resources and treasures. The higher the level of the disciple, the more valuable the resources they would be allocated, including many Baodan immortal herbs. The resources that an inner sect disciple of the Purple Shao Treasure sect could receive in 3 years were definitely valuable. No problem. Yeah, don't worry. This must be deducted. Do it. Yes. We must teach these little bastards a lesson. Chapter 1569. The cultivation resources of the Purple Shao Treasure sect's disciples had always been managed by the ordinary elders of the sect. At this time, when they heard Ning Yi's words, the elders who were angry at the inner court disciples for provoking Lin Tian and implicating them immediately announced that they would deprive the inner court disciples of their cultivation resources for the next 3 years. In an instant, the faces of the inner court disciples who were still conscious in the residential area of the inner court disciples turned even paler. Say, elders, some of the inner court disciples trembled and tried to salvage the situation. Depriving 3 years of their cultivation resources. Compared to such a punishment, they would rather be beaten half to death by Lin Tian. How dare you speak? Shut up! An elder shouted angrily. The group of inner court disciples trembled. The inner court disciples who were still conscious did not dare to say a word. Ning Yi snorted softly and looked at Lin Tian. She blinked her eyes and said, "Lin Tian, are you satisfied?" Lin Tian smiled and nodded. Then he said, "Thank you, Yi." Ning Yi asked the elders to apologize to him, depriving Duan Xinyi of a year's salary, and depriving all the inner court disciples of their cultivation resources for the next 3 years. She was so protective of him that it warmed his heart. "You're welcome." Ning Yi shook her little head and said seriously, "You're Yi's savior and also Yi's friend. Bullying you is bullying Yi." Then she said, "Your residence seems to have been destroyed. Yeah, let them arrange a celestial peak for you, okay?" Hearing Ning Yi's words, the disciples of the Purple Shao Treasure sect widened their eyes. Arrange a celestial peak. A celestial peak. Only the true disciples of the sect were qualified to have it. When the elders heard this, they quickly stepped forward and looked at Lin Tian. "Little brother, what do you think of Yi's idea? If you are willing, we will immediately arrange the best immortal peak for you to cultivate on." At this time, these elders of the gold immortal realm looked at Lin Tian with enthusiasm and smiles. They could see that Lin Tian and Ning Yi had a good relationship and wanted to get closer to Lin Tian. Getting closer to Lin Tian was equivalent to getting closer to Ning Yi. In a sense, it was more valuable than getting closer to the sect leader. Lin Tian looked at these elders and naturally knew what they were thinking. However, he ignored them and instead looked towards Ning Yi and said, "There's no need, Yi. We'll just randomly choose another residence in the outer sect residence district." "Oh, okay. Yi will accompany you to choose," Ning Yi said. With her influence in the Purple Shao treasure sect, if she asked, the sect could provide Lin Tian with the best cultivation environment. However, she respected Lin Tian's choice. If Lin Tian wanted to choose a new residence in the outer sect residence district, she would accompany Lin Tianyi to choose. "Okay," Lin Tian said with a smile. He glanced at the inner sect disciples and elders, then called in Shui, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu to leave with Ning Yi. They walked towards the outer sect disciples' residence district and soon walked far away. At this place, the cultivators could not help but swallow their saliva as they watched Lin Tian and the others walk away. That little girl, who is she? Not only did she make the elders afraid, but she can also control our sect-protecting killing array. This is that Lin Tian in the Purple Shao treasure sect knows someone with such great power and is his savior. This is really... It's funny that Zhou Huaqing thought he could be so arrogant just because he has an inner sect disciple as his elder brother. However, he didn't expect the person he provoked to have such a close relationship with someone with such great power in the Purple Shao treasure sect. He's courting death. The outer sect disciples who came to this place to watch the show whispered among themselves. In the inner sect residence district, the inner sect disciples who were still conscious were pale, and many of them were about to collapse. They collectively went to destroy Lin Tian's residence to give Lin Tianyi a warning and teach him a lesson. They wanted to show Lin Tian the inviolable dignity of inner sect disciples. However, they didn't expect that they would end up like this. Lin Tian broke into the inner sect and injured everyone. No one could stop him, and they lost all their face. Now, all of their inner sect disciples were deprived of all the cultivation resources in the sect for the next 3 years. This price was too high. Behave yourself in the future. Some elders glanced at the inner sect disciples coldly. They all snorted, covered their sleeves, and flew away. Even Duan Qinyi was no exception. At this time, he didn't even bother to look at the unconscious Duan Xingxian. He was too angry. Lin Tianyi and the others left the inner sect residence district and quickly returned to the outer sect residence district. They chose a new residence. The new residence was similar to the previous one, but the environment wasn't as quiet as the previous one. TSK. This little girl is actually the granddaughter of the first Grand Elder, the direct descendant of the founder of the Purple Ease treasure sect. No wonder those elders are so afraid of her. No wonder she can control the Purple Ease treasure sect protecting killing array. Wuxing Crocodile clicked his tongue. On the way back to the outer sect residence district to choose a new residence, the group found out about Ning Yi's identity in the Purple Ease treasure sect from Ning Yi. Even Lin Tian was a little surprised. Little Yi's position in the Purple Ease treasure sect could be said to be very noble. Little Yi is so cool today. And Shui hugged Little Yi and said, Ning Yi was very happy. I didn't expect you all to be cultivating in the Purple Ease treasure sect. That's great. Yi can come and play with you all often in the future. Anytime. Lin Tian smiled. Ning Yi was even happier. On this day, Ning Yi stayed at Lin Tian's place until nightfall. Then she said goodbye and left. I'm going back too. I'll try to break through to the true immortal realm in half a month. And Shui said she was about to condense the 9th strand of celestial core power. Once she condensed the 9th strand of celestial core power, she would not be far from the true immortal realm. In the blink of an eye, she would be able to step into the true immortal realm. In fact, it would take a lot of time to fuse the 9th strand of celestial core power in the starry sky. Some people even needed treasures like the Supreme Celestial Jade to complete the fusion of the 9th strand of celestial core power. However, in the immortal realm, it was completely unnecessary because the immortal realm was filled with celestial spiritual energy. Such an environment was comparable to the supreme celestial jade. Therefore, in the immortal realm, as long as one could condense the ninth strand of celestial core power, one could instantly step into the true immortal realm. One had to admit that the cultivation environment in the immortal realm was really amazing. In the immortal realm, the starting point of the cultivator's cultivation was really not something the beings in the starry sky could compare to. This was already a difference in dimensions. In the blink of an eye, and Shui left. We have to work hard to condense the ninth strand of celestial core power as soon as possible and break into the true immortal realm. Lin Tiandao. The sky gradually darkened. Soon, the darkness dispersed and the sun rose again. It was a new day. On this day, Lin Tian brought Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu out of their new residence and headed towards the Refinement Dao Valley. After such a long time, they could continue to cultivate in the Refinement Dao Valley. On the way to the Refinement Dao Valley, there were many disciples coming and going. When they saw Lin Tian, they were more afraid than before. It was because of what happened yesterday that made Lin Tian's reputation in the Purple Freedom Treasure sect even more. With regards to this, Lin Tian naturally did not mind. Not long after, he arrived outside the Refinement Path Valley with 5-element crocodile and Little Taichu. He passed his disciple nameplate to the sect deacon guarding the Refinement Path Valley. After checking it, he entered the Refinement Path Valley. He casually chose a stone room in the Refinement Dao Valley. Like the previous 2 times, he entered and then took out the super tree of life from his origin small world to cultivate. Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu each stopped on a branch of the super tree of life and cultivated using the ancient divine technique. In an instant, 3 different types of divine light and Dao light intertwined. Soon, 48 hours passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, the man and the 2 beasts woke up at the same time. The Dao power outside of their bodies was stronger than before. At this time, with a crisp crack, the super tree of life cracked. The super life force it contained was finally used up by the man and the 2 beasts and disappeared. "Let's go," Lin Tian said. The life force in the super tree of life could not be regenerated. As it was continuously consumed, it would wither one day. He was very clear about this. Therefore, he was not surprised by the collapse of the super tree of life. He quickly left this place with Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu and then returned to his residence. After that, time passed by, day by day. On this day, the Purple Shao Treasure sect became lively. Many people gathered in the martial arts arena. Most of them were outer disciples. Outer disciple competition, top 10. Lin Tian was also in the martial arts arena. He had a faint smile on his face. The mysterious ancient land in Tranquil province that opened every 10 years would open again in about half a month. It was filled with all kinds of immortal opportunities and immortal treasures. It was jointly managed by the 10 great treasure sects of Tranquil province. Countless cultivators in Tranquil province wanted to enter to train, but only the disciples of the 10 great treasure sects could enter. Even the disciples of the 10 great treasure sects were not allowed to enter because there were restrictions. Only the inner disciples and true disciples of the 10 great treasure sects were allowed to enter, and only the top 10 outer disciples were allowed to enter. The reason why they didn't allow all of their disciples to go there to train and strengthen themselves was because they wanted to put pressure on their disciples on a daily basis so that they could work hard in their cultivation to obtain the qualifications to enter the place. Chapter 1570. There were many outer disciples in the sect. All of them wanted to enter the mystical ancient ground at the center of the Tranquil province to train, because there were too many ancient treasures and opportunities there. Everyone wanted to gain some benefits from that ancient ground. However, only the top 10 outer court disciples in the entire Purple Harmony treasure sect were qualified to enter. Therefore, there would naturally be a huge competition to determine the top 10 outer court disciples before the mysterious ancient land truly opened. Lin Tian stood in a corner of the martial arts arena with a faint smile on his face, calmly looking at everything in front of him. The martial arts arena of Purple Shao Treasure Sect was very big. There was a person standing on each of the 10 martial arts arenas. They were the top 10 outer disciples. On this day, the top 10 outer disciples would stand on the 10 martial arts arenas and accept the challenge of any outer disciple. If they won, they would remain in the top 10. If they lost, they would fall out of the top 10 outer disciples. Begin. The competition of the top 10 outer disciples was presided over by a golden immortal elder. At this moment, the elder who was presiding over the competition announced. In an instant, one outer disciple after another started to challenge the top 10 outer disciples on the 10 arenas. For a moment, rumbling sounds were constantly heard, and various kinds of divine light bloomed. There were many outer sect disciples who issued challenges. However, those who were able to become the top 10 outer sect disciples were all very strong. Many outer sect disciples issued challenges to these top 10 outer sect disciples, but none of them were successful. All of them were defeated. Even so, there were still outer disciples who opened their mouths one after another and stepped forward to challenge these 10 people. The temptation of the mysterious ancient land located at the center of Tai Ning province was too great. Everyone wanted to go there to gain experience and experience. Hey, when are you going to challenge them? And Shui asked Lin Tiandao in a corner of the martial arts arena. During this period, she had condensed 9 strands of immortal core power and stepped into the true immortal realm. Now that she was an inner disciple of Purple Shao Treasure Sect, she no longer needed to participate in the competition of the top 10 outer disciples. She was qualified to enter the ancient land. Right away, Lin Tianin smiled. At this moment, there were fewer and fewer people who wanted to challenge the top 10 outer disciples. He was ready to challenge them, and Shui looked at the 10 stages and asked, "Then, who are you going to challenge?" With Lin Tian's current strength, he could even defeat an early-stage true immortal. No matter who Lin Tian challenged, he would definitely win. However, she was more curious about who Lin Tian would challenge next. Lin Tianyi smiled. His gaze landed on one of the 10 stages, on which stood a black-clothed youth. The black-robed young man was none other than Lu Yongxin, who was ranked 9th in the Outer Sanctum. He had been beaten up by Lu Yongxin when he provoked him, and Shui followed Lin Tian's gaze and immediately rolled his eyes. "You really hold a grudge." Lin Tian looked at the stage where Lu Yongxin was. She naturally knew that Lin Tian was going to challenge Lu Yongxin next. At the same time, she also knew that Lu Yongxin had provoked Lin Tian before. Lin Tian also rolled his eyes. Since I'm going to challenge someone, it's only natural that I'll challenge someone I don't like. Compared to pushing down one of the other 9 people, it's better to push down the person I don't like, right? Oh, that makes sense. And Shui said. Lin Tianyi smiled and then walked forward. In front of him, there were 10 stages. The number of outer disciples who went up to challenge him was gradually decreasing. Lu Yongxin stood on one of the stages with a faint arrogance in his eyes. He stood with his hands behind his back and looked at the other outer disciples disdainfully. Now that he had almost condensed 8 strands of celestial core power, he was not far away from the true immortal realm. These ordinary outer disciples could challenge him, but it was impossible for them to defeat him. When he thought of this, his eyes could not help but emit rays of light. No one could shake his position in the top 10 of the outer disciples. After this, he would be qualified to enter the mysterious ancient land in the center of Peaceful Prefecture. It was rumored that there were countless immortal opportunities and ancient treasures there. He believed that with his ability, he would be able to obtain many extraordinary treasures after entering the place. For a moment, the corners of his mouth could not help but curl up. Outer disciple Lin Tian challenges Lu Yongxin. At this moment, a faint voice sounded. Lin Tian walked from the corner of the stage to the stage where Lu Yongxin was. In a flash, he appeared on the stage. Instantly, everyone in the stage changed their expressions. Lin Tian. That's the Lin Tian who caused havoc in the inner disciples. It's him. On the stage, a group of Purple Firmament Treasure Sect disciples looked at Lin Tian with obvious fear in their eyes. Not long ago, Lin Tian caused havoc in the inner disciples and attracted Ning Yi, whom even the elders were afraid of. Ningye even controlled the sect protecting Killing Array of the Purple Firmament Treasure sect and forced the elders to apologize to Lin Tiandao. She also deprived Elder Duan Xianyi of his 1 year's salary and stripped all the inner disciples of their cultivation resources for the next 3 years. This caused a stir in the entire Purple Firmament Treasure sect. Lin Tian's reputation rose because of this. Many people knew that Lin Tian was backed by someone who had great power in the Purple Firmament Treasure sect. He was someone who even the Golden Celestial Elders of the Purple Firmament Treasure sect were afraid of. Moreover, Lin Tian's strength was extremely formidable, and it was known by everyone since a long time ago. Therefore, after that incident, all the disciples of the Purple Firmament Treasure sect were extremely respectful towards Lin Tian. Even some elite disciples were afraid of him. At this moment, when they saw Lin Tian ascend the stage to challenge Lu Yongxin, all of them couldn't help but be moved, and their expressions changed slightly. At the same time, even the Golden Celestial Elder, who presided over the competition of the top 10 and the outer disciples, had a fearful expression when he saw Lin Tian, and he trembled slightly. It was truly because the living ancestor behind Lin Tian was slightly terrifying to him. That was a direct descendant of the Purple Firmament Treasure sect's founding ancestor, and his grandfather was the #1 Supreme Elder of the Purple Firmament Treasure sect. He was at the mysterious immortal realm, and no one in the Purple Firmament Treasure sect dared to offend him. Even the sect master of the Purple Firmament Treasure sect didn't dare to casually offend him. Immediately, the elder smiled politely at Lin Tian from afar and said, "I agree to the challenge. Begin." Immediately, everyone's eyes fell on the martial arts arena where Lin Tian was standing. On the martial arts arena, Lu Yongxin's expression had become extremely ugly. He had originally thought that he would definitely be able to maintain his position in the top 10 of the outer disciples, and then enter the mysterious ancient land at the center of the peaceful prefecture. He would then find various divine treasures, and his strength would increase greatly. However, he never imagined that in the next moment, Lin Tian would jump out and actually challenge him. He had challenged Lin Tian before, so he knew Lin Tian's strength. Lin Tian was simply a monster, and he absolutely couldn't win. Don't you know someone with great power in the sect? You're qualified to enter the ancient land without the challenge. Why? Why do you still participate in this competition? He looked at Lin Tian, and his voice couldn't help but tremble with a trace of unwillingness. So what? Lin Tian looked at Lu Yongxin and said, "I want to participate, so I participate. Do you have a problem with that?" Indeed, if he was willing, he could naturally enter the ancient land in the center of the Taining province without doing anything if he told Ningye. However, that was obviously not in line with his character. In the world, as long as the rules were absolutely fair and just, he would not break them. He would abide by the rules that were absolutely fair and just. Lu Yongxin's expression became even uglier, but he didn't dare to say anything harsh to Lin Tian. I admit defeat." He gritted his teeth and said. Whether it was Lin Tian knowing someone with great power in the Purple Shao Treasure sect, or Lin Tian's extremely powerful strength, it was impossible for him to fight Lin Tian. If they really fought, he would definitely lose. Lin Tian wins and advances to the top 10 in the outer disciples. The Golden Immortal Elder, who was in charge of the outer sect grand competition, announced loudly. Then he smiled politely at Lin Tian. In the arena, Lin Tian also nodded and smiled at the Golden Immortal Elder. He knew that the elder was so polite to him because he was afraid of Ningye. Even so, if someone was polite to him, he would naturally return the favor. That was his principle. Lu Yongxin's expression turned ugly. He jumped down from the arena awkwardly and was replaced by Lin Tian. He walked to the arena and looked at the other 9 arenas except for Lin Tian. His gaze landed on one of the arenas, where a brown-robed young man was standing. He was once the top 10 in the outer disciples. He turned around and challenged this person, wanting to re-enter the top 10 in the outer disciples. This was also within the rules of the outer court grand competition. Those who were originally in the top 10 after being challenged and lost could challenge the other 9 people in the top 10 after being defeated. As long as they won, they could once again return to the top 10. Boom! At that moment, a shocking divine power bloomed in the arena where the brown-robed young man was. Then 15 minutes quickly passed. Bang! With a muffled sound, Lu Yongxin's body was knocked down by the brown-robed young man. How? How is this possible? You? Looking at the brown-robed young man, Lu Yongxin's face was full of disbelief. This brown-robed young man was previously ranked 10th in the outer disciples, who was weaker than him. He admitted defeat to Lin Tian and then challenged this person. He thought that he would definitely win, but he did not expect that he would be defeated. He was knocked out of the arena by the person who was previously weaker than him. The brown-robed young man snorted coldly. He released his divine power, which intertwined into 8 waves of celestial core power. This made Lu Yongxin's face turn even uglier. This person who was originally ranked 10th in the outer disciples' cultivation had surpassed him. He gritted his teeth and looked at the other 8 people in the top 10. He wanted to challenge the top 10 again and obtain the qualification to enter the ancient land in Taining State. Unfortunately, he gave up in the end. He knew the strength of those 8 people very well. They were definitely not someone he could defeat. For a time, he felt as though he was about to collapse. He was filled with unwillingness and regret. He regretted that he had provoked Lin Tian back then. If he hadn't provoked Lin Tian back then, maybe he wouldn't have ended up like this today. Thinking of this, he felt extremely uncomfortable. Under the pointing and whispering of the other outer disciples, he walked out of the arena in a daze. Lin Tian watched Lu Yongxin leave the arena awkwardly and could not help but smile faintly. Chapter 1571. Lu Yongxin left the martial arts practice field in a daze. He looked very embarrassed as if he had lost his soul. TKK. How miserable. Wuxing Crocodile looked at Lu Yongxin's miserable appearance and couldn't help but sneer. On the martial arts practice field, the outer disciple grand competition was still going on. Lin Tian stood on the martial arts practice field where Lu Yongxin was and didn't leave. According to the rules of the outer disciple grand competition, after he defeated one of the original outer disciple grand competition, he had a reason to accept other challenges until the end of the outer disciple grand competition. When the outer disciple grand competition ended, no one would continue to challenge him. Time flew by, and soon another 2 hours had passed. During these 2 hours, many outer court disciples went up to challenge one after another. They all challenged the other 9 people aside from Lin Tian, but without exception, none of them succeeded. After all, those who had entered the top 10 of the outer court were all extremely powerful. They had relied on their own strength to enter the top 10. Without any special reason, they would normally not be defeated by other outer court disciples. At this time, no more outer disciples came to challenge. The outer disciple grand competition was over. Except for Lu Yongxin, who was replaced by Lin Tian, the other 9 people were still in the outer disciple grand competition. Congratulations to the top 10. You are qualified to go to the ancient land of Taining. The elder in charge of the outer disciple grand competition said. The ancient land of Taining was the name of the mysterious ancient land in the center of Taining province. For a moment, the other outer disciples in the martial arts practice field looked at Lin Tian and the other top 10 outer disciples with envy. The ancient land of Taining contained too many immortal opportunities and divine treasures. They also wanted to go there to train, but now they were doomed to have no hope. They could only wait for the ancient land of Taining to open again in 10 years. The outer disciple grand competition was over. Lin Tian and Shui, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu directly left the martial arts practice field. The ancient land of Taining will open in about half a month. We will enter. You guys prepare in advance. I will also go back and prepare. And Shui said to Lin Tian. Okay. Lin Tian nodded. Soon, he, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu returned to their residence. As a matter of fact, he didn't have much to prepare after returning to his residence. Not long after, he went to the immortal spirit canyon of the Purple Shao treasure sect with Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu to cultivate. The immortal spirit chi in this place was very rich. It was naturally many times better than cultivating in an ordinary place. After that, 13 days passed very quickly. On this day, a voice resounded in the Violet Firmament Treasure Sect. The peaceful ancient land had opened, and the order was given to all the true disciples, inner disciples, and top 10 outer disciples to come to the Violet Firmament Pavilion within half an hour. Hey, let's go, Lin Tian. And Shui came to Lin Tian's residence and shouted. Lin Tian just happened to walk out of his residence and greeted Shui with a smile. Then, together with Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu, they flew into the sky and soon arrived at the Violet Firmament Pavilion of the Purple Shao Treasure Sect. The Violet Firmament Pavilion was about a few thousand feet in radius. It was a huge treasure platform made of white jade. It was engraved with dense Dao runes and array seals. At this time, the Dao runes and array seals on it were emitting a faint light. The Violet Firmament Treasure Sect has left a large-scale teleportation array in the peaceful ancient land. It's connected to the teleportation array here. Once the enchantment outside the peaceful ancient land is weakened to the extent that it's possible to travel through the void, the two teleportation arrays will be connected, causing the Dao runes and array runes on the teleportation array here to light up. The sect will know that it's possible to enter the teleportation array here. After that, the disciples will be able to travel directly to the peaceful ancient land through the teleportation array here. And Shui explained and then said, the other 9 sects that are called the 10 Great Treasure Sects together with the Violet Firmament Treasure Sect are the same as the Violet Firmament Treasure Sect. Lin Tian nodded and instantly understood. Previously, he thought that he would have to travel to the so-called peaceful ancient land. He didn't expect that he would directly enter the peaceful ancient land through the sect's teleportation array. At this time, there were about 2,000 people standing on the Violet Firmament Pavilion. All of them had extraordinary chi and spirit. The weakest one was a half-step true immortal, Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian, who had a grudge against Lin Tian, were inner sect disciples. Naturally, they also lived in this place. At this time, they were closer to Lin Tian. They both looked at him intentionally or unintentionally. Their eyes were filled with fear, hatred, and gloomy killing intent. Lin Tian stood in the crowd. He seemed to sense that someone was staring at him, so he followed the gaze. When Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian saw Lin Tian looking at them, they quickly turned their heads and looked away from Lin Tian. Their reactions were very fast. However, Lin Tian still saw it. At the same time, the hatred and killing intent in their eyes were also seen by Lin Tian. Lin Tian didn't say anything about it. He didn't have much reaction either. He just smiled indifferently and then turned his head again. What's wrong? Seeing his abnormal reaction, Whooshing Crocodile asked. Nothing. 2 bad bugs with bad intentions. Lin Tian said. Whooshing Crocodile was suspicious. It looked at the direction where Lin Tian turned his head and saw Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian. Naturally, it guessed that the 2 bad bugs that Lin Tian mentioned were these 2. They know that we have a bowed in that can increase our strength and a broken gold immortal artifact. They also know that little girl Ning is very close to us. Yet, they still want to deal with us? It sneered. Some people just like to be cheap. There's nothing we can do about it. Lin Tian Ondao said. At this time, in front of them, on the platform, 3 elders stood up together. One of them said, "All right, let's go." Every time the disciples of Purple Shao Treasure Sect entered peaceful ancient land to train, they would be accompanied by 3 golden immortal elders. Of course, it was the same for the other 9 sections. As one of the 3 elders spoke, the Purple Shao platform suddenly burst into a burst of brilliant light. In the next moment, everyone on the Purple Shao platform was shrouded by the light and disappeared on the spot in an instant. Lin Tian instantly felt darkness in front of his eyes. The space became a little oppressive. He knew that this was the inherent reaction of the spatial teleportation. Being in such darkness, it was very calm. After some time, light appeared in front of him again. This is peaceful ancient land? He stepped onto the solid ground again. Looking around, there was a slightly dusky space in front of him. He couldn't see the end of it at all. It was boundless. In the distance, There were ancient mountains connected together. They looked like dragons lying on the ground. The sky was intertwined with faint red blood clouds. The whole space gave people a kind of oppressive feeling. Chapter 1572. The atmosphere was heavy, and the environment was dim. Ancient dark mountains were connected together, and there were no dense vegetation. The ground was pitch black, and there were also some places that were crimson red, as if they had been dyed in blood. "This is the peaceful ancient land," Lin Tian murmured to himself. Looking around, this space was somewhat similar to the Demon Burial Valley in the first heaven of the Ten Directions' heavenly domain. At the same time, he looked at the stone platform under his feet. It was engraved with dense Dao runes and array seals, and it was very similar to the Dao runes and array seals on the Purple Cloud platform of the Purple Cloud Treasure Sect. Obviously, this was the teleportation formation placed in the peaceful ancient land that was connected to the Purple Cloud platform of the Purple Cloud Treasure Sect. Peaceful ancient land, we're finally in. This place is filled with immortal opportunities. Immortal opportunities. Divine treasures. There were nearly 2,000 people from the Purple Cloud Treasure Sect who entered this place. At this time, many disciples were a little excited. After all, the peaceful ancient land was equivalent to a treasure vault. Of course, this treasure vault was naturally very dangerous. However, at this time, most of these cultivators ignored the various dangers and only thought about the various immortal opportunities and divine treasures in this place. I know what all of you are thinking. Don't get too excited. This ancient land is just as you think. It is filled with immortal opportunities and treasures, but it is also filled with danger. Don't just think about the benefits here and throw the dangers to the back of your mind. A voice was heard. It was one of the 3 elders of the Purple Cloud Treasure Sect who led the crowd here. He said, "At the same time, remember that this treasure vault is only open for 6 months. Before 6 months pass, you must get here and use the teleportation formation here to return to the sect. Otherwise, once the time is up, you'll be trapped in this ancient land." This person continued, "Don't think that being trapped here is nothing. Instead, you'll have more time to seek treasures here." That's too naive. I've said before that in addition to the various immortal opportunities and treasures, there are also many dangers here. After 6 months, every inch of this ancient land will be shrouded in highly toxic corrosive fog. Even golden immortals can't resist it. Once they're infected by the corrosive fog, they'll definitely die. So, if you don't leave this place 6 months ago, you'll end up being devoured by the corrosive fog. As soon as these words came out, the excitement of the disciples of the Purple Firmament Treasure Sect who came to this place suddenly decreased a lot. Obviously, they were shocked by the dangers in this ancient land. While they were excited about the various opportunities and treasures in this ancient land, they also remembered the many dangers in this ancient land and began to be vigilant of this ancient land. The 3 elders nodded after seeing the reaction of the disciples. They were very satisfied with the vigilance they felt towards this ancient land. After all, they were the elders of the Purple Firmament Treasure Sect, and these people were the disciples of the Purple Firmament Treasure Sect. They naturally didn't want their sect's disciples to die tragically in this ancient land due to carelessness. All right, we don't have much time. Let's not waste any more time. Now let's split up and go train. Remember, you only have 6 months. From now on, before 6 months have passed, you must return to this place and use the teleportation array here to return to the sect." An elder said with a solemn expression. "Yes." The group of disciples said, "Good, go." Another elder said. Immediately, the group of disciples dispersed. Most of them went in groups and rushed in different directions. These disciples all had excited expressions on their faces, as if they could already foresee the scene of them finding the divine treasures of the various sects in the peaceful ancient land. Lin Tian and Shui, Whooshing Crocodile, and Little Taichu walked together and left the teleportation array's range. They went in a random direction and quickly went far away from the teleportation array's range. Gluttonous Divine Lotus, I'm coming. And Shui clenched her fists. She had joined the Purple Shao treasure sect in order to enter the peaceful ancient land to search for the Swan Xian Lotus. This was because such an item was very difficult to find elsewhere in the outside world. It was rumored that it had only been discovered in the peaceful ancient land. Mysterious dragon armor. I'm Lin Tian. Lin Tian purposely imitated in Shui's words, and Shui immediately gritted her teeth at him. Then she rolled her eyes. You want to find the mysterious dragon armor here? That's just wishful thinking. Many Immortal King realm experts came here, but they didn't have an ending. They didn't even have a single clue. You're only a half-step true immortal now. It's impossible for you to find the mysterious dragon armor here. This has nothing to do with cultivation. It's not that those with high cultivation can't find it, but those with low cultivation can't find it either. Although my cultivation is far from that of an immortal king, I'm still very confident in my luck. Lin Tian on Dao, and Shui curled her lips and glanced at him. The two men and two beasts casually walked in a direction. Lin Tian had a faint smile on his face. His right hand was hidden in his wide sleeve. Faint soul lights intertwined. His 5 fingers moved together, intertwining and drawing lines of mysterious and strange things in his sleeve. Speaking of which, this space is quite oppressive. Blood clouds are intertwined in the sky, and the ground is either black or red. This really doesn't make this crocodile feel comfortable. Wuxing Crocodile said, "Yeah." Little Taichu let out a childish sound, obviously agreeing with Wuxing Crocodile's words. And Shui said, "Didn't I tell you before? This peaceful ancient land was once an extremely huge, immortal battlefield. Many people died here, so naturally it became like this. It's normal for space to be oppressive." "Oh, I think that was said before." Wuxing Crocodile nodded. Lin Tian was very calm. He continued to walk forward with Shui, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu. Of course, during this process, they were not walking aimlessly. As they walked, they sized up this ancient land, thinking about how to find the Nightmare Lotus and the mysterious dragon armor. Of course, if there were other valuable divine treasures, they would naturally collect them as well. After all, there was no reason not to collect valuable things. Soon, they walked into a chain of mountains. There were all kinds of ancient trees growing in the chain of mountains. They were not luxuriant, and their vitality was not strong. They also looked very strange. It was rare to see such plants in the outside world. After walking for about 10,000 feet into the chain of mountains, Lin Tian suddenly stopped. "What's wrong?" And Shui asked. Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu also looked at him curiously. "We have guests." Lin Tian on Dao turned around and looked behind him. Almost at the same time, a cold snort sounded. 3 figures appeared behind him. 2 of them had sinister eyes. They were Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian. The other person was a young man in black. He had a cold and arrogant expression on his face. His spirit was much stronger than Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian. He had a faint golden, immortal aura around him. Wuxing Crocodile glanced at the black-clothed man with the faint golden immortal aura, then looked at Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian. "Zhou Huajun, Duan Xingxian, you really are despicable. Haven't you suffered enough before?" It could naturally see that these people behind it did not have good intentions. Duan Xingxian glanced at Wuxing Crocodile coldly. Then his eyes fell on Lin Tian. "Outer sect ants dare to hurt me. Do you think you can get away with it?" He was beaten unconscious by Lin Tian in front of a group of inner sect disciples. This kind of humiliation was hard to forget. At this time, he looked at Lin Tian with undisguised killing intent. At the same time, Zhou Huajun also stared at Lin Tian viciously. Like Duan Xingxian, they hated Lin Tian to the core. Lin Tian looked at the two with a calm expression. "You guys are bold. You know that he is Little Ye's savior. You know that even the elders of the Purple Shao treasure sect are afraid of Little Ye. Little Ye can even activate the sect's sect-protecting killing array. So, you still dare to continue to deal with him?" And Shui narrowed his eyes and said. Duan Xingxian and the other 2 heard this, and a deep sense of fear flashed in their eyes. But soon they did not care. Duan Xingxian said, "So what? This wasn't the sect. As long as we kill him here, kill you, and kill those two animals, who will know how you died? Who will think that we killed you? They will only think that you died because of the many dangers in this ancient land of Taining. All of you will die today, Zhou Huajun said. Looking at Lin Tian, Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian's faces were cold and vicious. Lin Tian made them lose face. They hated Lin Tian to the core and wanted Lin Tian to die. You two despicable dogs. Wuxing Crocodile looked at the two of them and said coldly. Duan Xingxian's gaze was ghastly as he glanced viciously at the five-element crocodile, and then his gaze descended onto Lin Tian. He said to the black-clothed young man by his side, "Senior brother Lu, do it. Just cripple his cultivation, but leave him alive. Junior brother Zhou, and I will execute him. As for that woman and those two animals, you don't have to leave them alive. Just kill them." The black-clothed youth was called Lu Jingji. He nodded and said, "I am also taking a big risk. Don't forget what you promised me." Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian gritted their teeth and said, "Senior brother Lu, don't worry. After this, we will give you the things we promised you with both hands." Lin Tian had the Baodan, which temporarily increased his strength, and a broken golden immortal artifact. With the two combined, he was almost invincible under the half-step golden immortal stage. They were no match for Lin Tian. Therefore, they had to rely on their own accumulation and pay a huge price to ask Lu Jingji to help them. Lu Jingji was at the half-step golden immortal stage. They believed that he could suppress Lin Tian. However, when they thought of the treasures they had to pay to ask Lu Jingji to help them, they could not help but feel a pang of pain. However, this pain only lasted for an instant. In the next moment, their gazes became sinister again. Lin Tian had humiliated them greatly. If Lin Tian did not die, they would not feel comfortable. It was even to the extent that if Lin Tian didn't die, it might affect their hearts of cultivation in the future. No matter what, they had to get rid of Lin Tian. Chapter 1573. Lu Jingji was very clear about the close relationship between Lin Tian and a super powerful figure in the Purple Xiao treasure sect. He knew that if he provoked Lin Tianyi, that person would be furious. At that time, even the sect leader of the Purple Xiao treasure sect would not be able to protect him. However, as Duan Xingxian had said, as long as he quietly killed Lin Tian and the people around Lin Tian, and Shui Shui, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu who would know about it. Duan Xingxian and Zhou Huajun knew about it, but it was them who asked him to do it, so they naturally would not leak the news. In other words, he did not need to worry about anything if he quietly got rid of Lin Tian in the ancient Taining land. After that, he would be able to get the many treasures that Duan Xingxian and Zhou Huajun had promised him, and those treasures were of great value. "Junior brother, I'm really sorry. Perhaps I'll give you face and cripple yourself. After all, if I cripple you, it will hurt your dignity more or less." Lu Jingji looked at Lin Tiandao. He knew that Lin Tian had a Baodan that could temporarily increase one's strength and an incomplete golden immortal weapon. However, he was a half-step golden immortal. Even if Lin Tian had a Baodan that could temporarily increase one's strength and an incomplete golden immortal weapon, he did not care. Even if Lin Tian gave the Baodan and the incomplete golden immortal weapon to an early-stage true immortal, he was not worried, because the gap between a half-step golden immortal and an early-stage true immortal was huge. Even if he gave the Baodan that could temporarily increase one's strength and an incomplete golden immortal weapon to an early-stage true immortal, it would not be a threat to him. A true disciple? Looking at Lu Jingji, who was at the half-step gold immortal stage, Lin Tian was able to guess that he was an heir disciple of Purple Carefree Treasure Sect. After all, heir disciples were all at the half-step gold immortal stage. Looking at this person, his expression was very calm. "I'll give you face. You can end it yourself. After all, if I kill you, it will hurt your pride." Lu Jingji's expression immediately darkened. Lin Tian had actually changed a few words of his words and directly returned it to him. This made him very unhappy. "Junior brother, your senior brother is giving you face. Don't be so shameless." "Am I not giving you face?" Lin Tian looked at this person and said, "Also, don't call yourself senior brother in front of me. Are you worthy of being my senior brother? Why don't you take out a mirror and look at yourself in it?" On the side, and Shui and the others were slightly moved. At this time, facing a half-step gold immortal, Lin Tian actually humiliated the other party in such a way. Although they knew Lin Tian's character and that he would not be afraid of a strong enemy, at this time, they clearly felt that Lin Tian did not care about this half-step gold immortal at all. He did not feel nervous at all. Logically speaking, their normal combat strength would not be able to resist a half-step gold immortal. Even if they had the Baodan that could increase their strength and the incomplete gold immortal sword, it would not be enough. However, Lin Tian's attitude when facing the other party at this time gave them a feeling that everything was under control. This made them surprised. Lin Tian had the means to deal with a half-step gold immortal. Lu Jingji's face became gloomy, and he said coldly, "I've long heard that the new outer disciple in the sect, Lin Tian, has a sharp tongue. Now that I've seen it, the rumors are true. A person is about to die, but he still has the ability to talk. Senior brother Lu, don't talk nonsense with him. This person is so disgusting. Just cripple him and torture him to death," Zhou Huajun said coldly. Duan Xingxian also said, "Let's do it, senior brother Lu." At this time, Lu Jingji was already very unhappy with Lin Tian. He was a half-step gold immortal and a true disciple of the Purple Peril Treasure sect, but Lin Tian treated him with such an attitude. Even though he knew that Lin Tian had a close relationship with a big shot in the Purple Peril Treasure sect, he still felt very uncomfortable. Hearing the words of Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian, he immediately moved and pressed against Lin Tian. At that moment, with a bang, a tyrannical divine power intertwined out of his body, mixed with a faint aura of a gold immortal, and directly pressed against Lin Tian. The ground of this place shook because of this tyrannical divine power. Do you see Lin Tian? This is the power of a half-step gold immortal. Today, you are destined to have a bad ending, Duan Xingxian said coldly. Don't worry. After senior brother Lu suppresses you, we won't simply kill you. We will let you have a good taste of torture. Zhou Huajun's eyes were very vicious. He would not forget that Lin Tian had crippled his limbs in front of a group of Purple Peril Treasure sect disciples. It was also at this time that Lu Jingji pressed in front of Lin Tian and slapped Lin Tian's cheek. Obviously, before suppressing Lin Tian, he wanted to humiliate Lin Tian first. Lin Tian looked at this person's movements, and the corner of his mouth curled into a sneer. He reached out his right hand from his sleeve and formed a seal with his bare hands. In an instant, soul light intertwined, and dense formation patterns appeared around him. Immediately, an extremely oppressive aura spread out, causing Lu Jingji, who was pressing in front of him, to tremble violently. The divine power outside his body was greatly weakened. Lin Tian raised his hand at the right time and slapped out, shattering the divine power outside his body and then landing on his cheek. Smack! A loud slap was heard, and Lu Jingji was sent flying dozens of feet away on the spot. With a bang, he rolled to the ground. Senior brother Lu. Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian's expressions changed. Lu Jingji, who was a half-step golden immortal, was actually slapped by Lin Tian just like that. And Shui, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu were also shocked. Then, they saw the dense formation patterns around Lin Tian. 1,000 forbid ants, 10,000 seals formation. And Shui, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu all recognized the formation patterns around Lin Tian. It had great divine power. At this moment, these formation patterns completely covered the space within a radius of hundreds of feet, enveloping their group, Lu Jingji, Zhou Huajun, and Duan Xingxian. At the same time, Zhou Huajun also recognized these formation patterns. This was because when he went to find trouble with Lin Tian back then, he suffered a great loss at Lin Tian's hands because of these formation patterns. When did you carve these formation patterns? I was carving them as I walked. I just finished them not long ago. Lin Tian spoke and glanced at Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian. Do you think I can't sense your hostility and killing intent? After carving these formation patterns, I was just waiting for you to appear. Of course, these are not the only formation patterns I've carved for you. As he spoke, more formation patterns appeared outside his body with a boom. As soon as they appeared, they exuded a shocking killing intent. Yin-yang limitless killing formation. Whooshing crocodile's eyes widened. Back then, it and Little Taichu had seen Lin Tian carve the 1,000 Forbid Dance, 10,000 Seals formation, and the Yin-yang limitless killing formation, so it naturally recognized them. Boom! A violent roar resounded through this space. Dense killing intent surged, and the murderous aura was terrifying. Facing this murderous aura, Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian's expressions changed. Even Lu Jingji, who was a half-step golden immortal, could not help but feel a sense of fear, and a chill ran down his spine. Yu, the three of them trembled. I'll use them to welcome you. Lin Tiandao. As he spoke, his mind moved, and the killing intent intertwined by the yin-yang limitless killing formation slashed directly at the three of them. Before he entered this ancient land of peace, he had sensed the killing intent from Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian. He knew that the two of them must have some special method to deal with him. Therefore, the moment he entered the ancient land of peace, his right hand was hidden in his sleeve, secretly carving the yin-yang limitless killing formation and the 1,000 Forbid Ants, 10,000 Seals formation beside him. Then, the moment the three of them appeared in front of him, he finished carving the two formations beside him, combining sealing and attacking into one. Of course, these two formations were very unusual, and he could only carve a corner now. But even if it was only a corner, it was enough to deal with Lu Jingji, Duan Xingxian, and Zhou Huajun. Clang! 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 The killing intent was like a sword light, emitting a clanging sound as it slashed toward Lu Jingji and the other two. Damn it! Lu Jingji cursed angrily. With a boom, the divine power of a half-step golden immortal vibrated out again, meeting the killing intent. At the same time, Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian also burst out with their true immortal divine power, slashing across the killing intent. Looking at the three of them, Lin Tianling smiled. The 1,000 Forbid Ants, 10,000 Seals formation bloomed with divine light, causing the space to become extremely oppressive, giving people a sense of dread. For a moment, Lu Jingji, Zhou Huajun, and Duan Xingxian all trembled, and the divine power outside their bodies instantly weakened countless times. This caused the three of them to be greatly shocked. It was also at this moment that the dense killing intent intertwined by the yin-yang limitless killing formation came directly in front of the three of them, slashing down mercilessly. Screams rang out instantly, and the dense killing intent pressed down, directly piercing the three of them into a hornet's nest, blood splattering everywhere. However, this was not the end. Lin Tian moved his mind, and more yin-yang limitless killing intent pressed down on the three of them. The killing intent enveloped the surroundings in the blink of an eye. This, and Shui's eyes widened. She finally understood why Lin Tian was so unconcerned and not nervous when facing Lu Jingji, who was a half-step golden immortal. It turned out that he had already engraved two terrifying formations and was prepared to deal with them. Too sinister, too deceptive. She muttered, "Clang, clang, clang." Streaks of killing light slid down one after another, densely packed together. Each of the streaks of killing light carried an unparalleled destructive power. In the blink of an eye, Lu Jingji and the other two were hacked into pieces, and blood splattered all over the sky. The three of them roared angrily, and their flesh and blood wriggled. In the blink of an eye, their physical bodies were reformed. How was it? Did it feel good to be hacked? Lin Tian looked at the three of them and asked indifferently. This caused the three of them to look even worse. Despicable scoundrel, you actually secretly engraved a killing formation and waited for us to attack. You schemed against us like this. Lu Jingji gritted his teeth. Lin Tian sneered. You came to kill me, and I engraved a killing formation to deal with you. Isn't that what I should do? Isn't that what I should do? What's more, you're a true disciple who has no enmity with me. We didn't even know each other before this. You came to kill me for some personal gain. You're extremely despicable, and now you have the nerve to call me a despicable person. Is your brain full of shit? How did you cultivate to the half-step golden immortal level? Lu Jingji's face immediately turned ashen. You, shut up. Chapter 1574. The dense yin and yang infinite killing lights pressed down on Lu Jingji like a rain of intertwined killing lights. Each killing light was incomparably powerful and terrifying, as if it wanted to pierce through everything between heaven and earth. Lu Jingji naturally felt the horror of this killing light and did not dare to be careless. He hurriedly urged the divine power of a half-step gold immortal to meet the dense killing light. Lin Tian's expression was indifferent. With a thought, the 1,000 prohibitions and 10,000 seals formation emitted a dense array light. The sealing power surged, causing Lu Jingji to tremble. His divine power, divine sense, and mobility were all suppressed and weakened by more than half in an instant. It was also at this time that the dense yin and yang infinite killing lights fell in front of Lu Jingji. The murderous aura was fierce and directly enveloped Lu Jingji. Ah! A scream was heard. In this dense killing light, Lu Jingji could not block it and was smashed into pieces on the spot. However, he was a half-step gold immortal after all. In the blink of an eye, Lu Jingji reformed his body. Looking at Lin Tian, Lu Jingji's face was very ugly. He was a half-step gold immortal, almost invincible below the gold immortal realm. But now, he was forced to such an extent by a half-step true immortal. It made him furious, but at the same time, it also made him feel a sense of shock and fear. Next to him, Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian were also shocked and angry. Under Lin Tian's two corners formation, they were in a sorry state. Go! We'll deal with him after we get out of here. Lu Jingji gritted his teeth. With his cultivation, he could naturally see that the two corners formation carved by Lin Tian was not ordinary. In this place, his power was suppressed so much that it was difficult for him to exert even half of his strength. At the same time, the killing light intertwined by these formation patterns was very terrifying. Under the situation where he could not even exert half of his combat strength, if he continued to stay in this place, he would definitely end up dead in the end. Senior brother is right. We need to leave the area covered by these formation patterns first, Zhou Huajun said. Back then, he had suffered a great loss under Lin Tian's great formation of 1,000 forbid dance of 10,000 seals. He knew very well that it was very disadvantageous to be in the range of such formation patterns. This was equivalent to Lin Tian's domain. Duan Xingxian nodded. Immediately, the three of them charged out of the formation. Seeing their actions, Lin Tian couldn't help but smile. Is it really that easy to rush out of here? Almost as soon as he finished speaking, the three of them rushed to the edge of the formation's range. It was also at this time that a tyrannical barrier appeared at the edge of the area, interweaving with great murderous force. The three of them directly smashed into it. Bang! 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 For a time, the three of them were sent flying in unison. Each of them suffered a calamity, and they couldn't help but cough up a mouthful of blood. Damn it! The three of them gritted their teeth, and their expressions became very ugly. Lin Tian's expression was indifferent. The great formation of 1,000 forbid dance of 10,000 seals and the yin-yang limitless killing formation surged together. The former suppressed and weakened the strength of the three of them, while the latter cut down the dense yin-yang limitless killing light. The combination of the two was terrifying as it struck the three of them. Blood splashed out one by one, and it was a shocking sight. Lin Tian glanced at the three of them, and his gaze fell on Lu Jingji. While controlling the great formation of 1,000 forbid ants of 10,000 seals and the yin-yang limitless killing formation, he also moved and pressed towards the other party. If it was just Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian, the great formation of 1,000 forbid ants of 10,000 seals, and the yin-yang limitless killing formation here would be enough to kill the two of them. However, Lu Jingji couldn't. After all, the other party was a half-step gold immortal. He had only barely carved out a corner of the great formation of 1,000 forbid ants of 10,000 seals, and the yin-yang limitless killing formation. They alone were not enough to kill a half-step gold immortal. He had to combine them with his own strength. He stepped forward, and his speed was very fast. The light of thunder interweaved around his body, and he directly performed the 5 heaven-shaking thunder technique. With a rumbling sound, silver lightning crisscrossed like silver dragons. Each of them was interweaved with a domineering power of extreme yang, and they pressed down on Lu Jingji. In this way, the great formation of 1,000 forbid ants of 10,000 seals and the yin-yang limitless killing formation merged with his own 5 heaven-shaking thunder technique. Soon, Lu Jingji completely fell into a desperate situation. Under the 3 great forces, it was impossible for him to resist. His powerful body was shattered again and again, and he was in a sorry state. Lin Tian, stop. According to the sect rules, you can't kill fellow disciples. If you kill me, you can't escape the punishment of the sect rules. Lu Jingji shouted. At this time, his whole body was stained with blood, and his aura was extremely weak. His origin was dim, and his spirit was cracked. He was not far from death, and his eyes were full of fear. "Bah, shameless, you jumped out to kill your fellow disciples first, and now you're about to be killed instead. How dare you say such words? You really have no shame." And Shui said, "Disgusting." Wuxing Crocodile sneered. Lu Jingji's face suddenly turned pale. He looked at Lin Tian and gritted his teeth. "In short, you can't kill me. Otherwise, if the sect finds out, you won't get away with it. According to the sect rules, those who kill fellow disciples will be executed by the sect." Lin Tian looked at this person, silver lightning lingering around his body. His expression was calm, but there was also a hint of mockery. "According to what you said before, you came here to kill me, and the sect won't know how I died. Now, if I kill you here, will the sect know that I killed you?" He looked down at Lu Jingji. "And even if the sect knows, so what? Don't you know that I have a very powerful friend in the sect? A friend that even sect leader Zishao is afraid of? Even if the sect finds out that I killed you, do you think the sect will punish me for you?" Lu Jingji's face turned even uglier. Yes, they came here to kill Lin Tian because if they killed Lin Tian here, no one would know. The sect wouldn't know, so they didn't have to worry about the sect's punishment. On the other hand, if Lin Tian killed him here, the sect wouldn't know either. On the other hand, just as Lin Tian said, Lin Tian had a friend in the sect that even the sect leader was afraid of. Even if Lin Tiansha died and the sect found out about him, the sect definitely wouldn't do anything to Lin Tian. Thinking of this, the fear in his eyes grew even stronger. Junior brother Lin, I was wrong. Senior brother was momentarily possessed and was bewitched by others. Can you forgive senior brother this once? Please let me go." He trembled and begged Lin Tian for mercy. Lin Tian looked at him. "Not good at all. Also, I'll say it again, don't call me senior brother in front of me. You really don't deserve it." With that, he directly attacked. The 1,000 Seals formation, the yin-yang limitless killing formation, and the 5 heaven-shaking thunders were all activated to the limit, suppressing Lu Jingji's strength to the extreme. At the same time, he launched a truly destructive attack on Lu Jingji. "No!" A cry of horror and despair rang out. The next moment, Lu Jingji exploded, and his divine soul was also crushed. For a moment, only Zhou Huajun and Duan Xingxian were left. The two looked at Lin Tian, trembling at this time. Their cheeks were pale, and their faces were full of fear. They invited Lu Jingji, a half-step golden immortal, to deal with Lin Tian. They thought that they could get rid of Lin Tian, but they didn't expect that the half-step golden immortal Lu Jingji they invited would be killed by Lin Tian so easily. And Lu Jingji, a half-step golden immortal, was killed. So, what would happen to them next? Brother Lin, everything is negotiable. Please let us go. No matter what you want, we will get it for you later." Yes, yes, yes. Brother Lin, please let us go. The two trembled and begged for mercy. They didn't want to die. Lin Tian looked at the two with a calm expression. I just want your lives, Yu Zichen said. As soon as he finished speaking, the Thousand Seals formation, the yin-yang limitless killing formation, and his 5 heaven-shaking thunders were activated again. For a moment, there was a rumbling sound. Tyrannical powers surged and shrouded the two. Even Lu Jingji, a half-step golden immortal, couldn't resist this kind of power, let alone Duan Xingxian and Zhou Huajun. In the blink of an eye, 2 shrill screams were heard, and the two were destroyed in body and soul at the same time. Immediately, the place became quiet. They really came to die, and Shui shook his head. Some people are born to be cheap. There's no other way. Lin Tian on Dao. They paused at this place for a while, then left and headed to other places. They didn't feel the slightest bit of emotion after killing Lu Jingji, Duan Xingxian, and Zhou Huajun. It was as if nothing had happened. They walked in this chain of mountains. Soon, they walked out of this mountain range and went to other places. As they walked, they each released a powerful divine will. And Shui was looking for a treasure like the Nightmare Lotus. Lin Tian was looking for the mystic dragon armor. Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu didn't have any goals. They just helped the two of them search. Soon a day passed. On this day, a piece of news suddenly reached their ears. Not far ahead, a huge relic was discovered. Occasionally, there would be astonishing, intertwining, immortal lights. From time to time, there would be rich, immortal Tao fluctuations rushing out. It was speculated that there were precious treasures inside. Oh, it's not far from here. Let's go take a look? Wuxing Crocodile asked. Lin Tian thought for a moment. Okay, now, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu had all condensed 8 strands of celestial core power. The relic was rumored to have astonishing immortal lights intertwining and rich immortal Tao fluctuations rushing out. Perhaps there were treasures inside that could help them condense new strands of celestial core power quickly. And once they condensed a new strand of celestial core power, they would have all condensed 9 strands of celestial core power. Then they could step into the true immortal realm in one go. And Shui naturally went with them. Inside, there were intertwining immortal lights and rich immortal Tao fluctuations. Perhaps there would be special treasures like the Nightmare Lotus. Immediately, the 2 men and 2 beasts moved. They were very fast. In the blink of an eye, they arrived outside the rumored relic. As far as the eye could see, there were all kinds of dead trees in front of them. In the center, there was a dilapidated palace made of bronze. It was frighteningly large, and the area it occupied was comparable to an ancient city. There were many Tao patterns carved on it, and some places had sunk deep into the soil. This is a battle palace. Chapter 1575. The huge dilapidated palace was made of bronze. There were many mottled rust stains on it, and densely packed Tao patterns were engraved on it. However, most of them were dim. Obviously, they had lost their original power. Battle palace? Lin Tian asked in Shui. He was puzzled. It was the first time he had heard of such a term. Wuxing Crocodile and Little Taichu also looked at Shui curiously. And Shui explained, a battle palace is a powerful magic treasure in the shape of a palace. It can be used to house, defend, and attack people. Usually, it is used in large-scale immortal battles and is controlled by the combined power of many people. Looking at the palace in front of her, she was a little surprised. She continued, it's not difficult to refine such a magic treasure, but the scale of the battle palace is usually small. However, the battle palace in this place is ridiculously large. Judging from the scale and the Tao inscriptions on it, this battle palace was at least a magic treasure of the celestial immortal level. Lin Tian, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu were surprised by her words. You're saying that this dilapidated giant palace is a magical treasure of a sect? And a magic treasure of the divine immortal level? Wuxing Crocodile stared. Yes. And Shui nodded. Then, a gleam appeared in her eyes. She said, A battle palace like this is usually forged by the transcendent powers of the king continents. There are usually some other small treasures inside. They work together with the huge battle palace to carry out the killing. Although those small magic treasures are not as good as the battle palace itself, they're definitely not ordinary. She continued, the most important thing is that such a huge battle palace, as the core of the magic treasure, must be engraved with a large number of immortal Tao talismans. Those talismans are like the spirits of the weapons, and they will not disappear with the passage of time. If those immortal Tao talismans in this battle palace were not destroyed in the battle, even if we only got a small strand of them, it would be a great gain. Because those immortal Tao talismans can be refined directly. They have great magical effects on refining the divine soul, strengthening Tao energy, and improving the perception of Tao. Lin Tian's eyes lit up slightly. He thought for a moment and said, earlier, the rumor said that the immortal light and dense fluctuation of the immortal Tao within the ruins could have been caused by the immortal Tao talismans you spoke of. And Shui was stunned. Then, her eyes lit up. Very likely. Let's go. Let's go. Lin Tian. Immediately, the two men and the two beasts walked toward the huge bronze palace. This bronze palace was the ruins mentioned in the rumors. It was said that the shocking immortal light and waves of immortal Tao had flashed inside. Therefore, it was very likely that they were emitted by the immortal Tao talismans at the core of the battle palace that Shui mentioned. Those talismans were at least left behind by a celestial immortal expert. Even if only a little of them were left behind after the great battle, they were still rare treasures to the current them. Once they found them, they would be of great use. Outside the bronze palace, withered trees stood tall. Moreover, there were many skeletons on the ground. Clearly, they were cultivators who had died in this place. After all, this peaceful ancient land was once an extremely large, immortal battlefield. Whoosh! 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 The sound of something breaking through the air rang out one after another. Naturally, they were not the only ones who had come here. There were many others as well. Soon, hundreds of figures appeared here. All of them were true immortals with astonishing vitality. Lin Tian didn't care about these people. Together with Shui, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu, he walked in a straight line toward the battle palace. Clang! Suddenly, there was an ear-piercing sound of a sword, and a beam of sword light slashed toward him. The sword light was swift and fierce, and it contained a shocking sword will. It arrived in an instant. Lin Tian frowned. He moved quickly, and together with Shui, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu, he moved to the side at the same time to avoid the sword. 5 young men came from afar, and their eyes fell on Lin Tian. Their eyes were cold. What's the meaning of this? Lin Tian looked at the 5 people and said coldly. That sword strike just now was clearly from one of the 5 people. The 5 young men's eyes fell on Lin Tian with cold intent. It's really you, one of them said. Wuxing Crocodile looked at the person who spoke. It's really your mother. Tell me, why did you attack us? Do you want to die? The young man who spoke looked at Wuxing Crocodile, and his cold eyes became even colder. He glanced at Wuxing Crocodile, Little Taichu, and finally his eyes fell on Lin Tian. You killed the brothers and nephews of Elder Du of the True Treasure sect. We have been looking for you for a long time under Elder Du's orders, but we couldn't find any trace of you. We didn't expect to meet you in the ancient land of peace. Lin Tian, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu immediately understood. At that time, when they had just entered the celestial realm, they had saved a young man by the name of Du Qingzhou. However, after that, in order to seize their true immortal tool, the other party had lured them into the Du clan manor. Several important figures of the Du clan knew that they were Du Qingzhou's saviors, so they had joined forces with Du Qingzhou to deal with them, vainly attempting to kill them and seize their true immortal tool. At that time, Lin Tian attacked and killed several big shots of the Du family's manor, including Du Qingzhou. He also found out that the 3rd son of the Du family was an elder of the True Treasure sect. At that time, They didn't care about it and left the Du family directly. Then, they met in Shui and joined the Purple Freedom Treasure sect. They almost forgot about the Du family. Unexpectedly, the third son of the Du family had been searching for them. Now, several disciples of the True Treasure sect had killed him in front of them. What's going on? And Shui asked Lin Tian. When she heard that the disciples of the True Treasure sect claimed that Lin Tiansha had killed several brothers and nephews of an elder of the True Treasure sect, she believed that there must be a special reason. At this time, she was curious and concerned. Lin Tian briefly told Shui about the grudge between them and the Du family. What? And Shui said angrily, "That's too much. They deserve to die." Lin Tian and the others had just saved her life. Now, they wanted to kill their saviors in order to steal the genuine immortal artifact. Moreover, the elders of the Du family knew this but still helped the evildoers. This really surprised and angered her. Lin Tian looked at the 5 people of the True Treasure sect and said, "I'll tell you what I said to her just now." He briefly told the 5 young men of the True Treasure sect the reason why he killed several big shots of the Du family and Du Qingzhou. Then he said, "You know the twists and turns of this matter. Don't disturb us." When the 5 young men of the True Treasure sect heard this, their expressions did not change. It seemed that they had no intention of letting them go. No matter what reason you have, killing the brothers and nephews of the True Treasure sect is a crime that must be punished with death. One of them, who was dressed in black, said coldly, "Don't talk nonsense. Since you killed the brothers and nephews of our elder, you were destined to die." Another person, who was dressed in a yellow robe, said. The other 3 people, who were dressed in brown robes, were dressed in green robes, and were dressed in blue robes. They looked at Lin Tian coldly and did not hide the killing intent in their eyes. Moreover, they had already released their divine thoughts and firmly locked onto Lin Tian and the others. Lin Tian's face suddenly turned cold. "Do you want to die?" When the 5 of them attacked him with their swords, he did not argue with them. He even told them the reason why he killed the big shots of the Du family and Du Qingzhou. However, these people did not care at all and still wanted to kill them. He was very unhappy. When the 5 young men heard this, their faces turned even colder. The young man in black said, "Don't talk nonsense with him. Just kill him." Elder Du's intention is that regardless of whether he is dead or alive, as long as you bring him to him, you will be greatly rewarded. Just kill him and bring his head to Elder Du. It just so happens that Elder Du is currently in peaceful ancient land. What about that woman? The young man in yellow robes looked at Shui. "Kill her as well," the young man in black said. As soon as he finished speaking, he stepped out and attacked Lin Tian. At the same time, the other 4 young men also attacked together. Their attacks were swift and fierce. When they attacked Lin Tian, and Shui, Wuxing Crocodile, and Little Taichu were also surrounded by their attacks. The 5 of them were all in the early stage of true immortal. When they attacked together, their true immortal aura surged, which was very terrifying. "You're courting death." Wuxing Crocodile's eyes were cold. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. Without saying anything, he directly attacked and punched forward. Dong! As he swung his fist, a thunder-like roar exploded in an instant. The tyrannical fist force enveloped the 5 people at the same time, turning into an unparalleled fist aura that bombarded the 5 people who were charging at him. Then there were muffled bangs. The 5 of them from the real treasure sect were all sent flying by the fist aura. The 5 of them steadied themselves in the distance. When they looked at Lin Tian again, they were all shocked. It was just a simple punch, but it was so powerful that it sent the 5 of them flying at the same time. "I'll give you one last chance. If you don't want to die, get lost immediately." Lin Tian looked at the 5 of them and said coldly. When the 5 young men from the real treasure sect heard that, their expressions did not change at all. However, the coldness in their eyes became more intense. "You think you're strong just because you got the upper hand once because of our carelessness? How dare you ask us to get lost?" The young man in black said coldly, "Attack. Don't be careless. Kill him quickly." The brown-haired young man said. Then, the 5 of them attacked again. This time, they all used their divine powers. The tyrannical secret techniques pressed down on Lin Tian. For a moment, the killing power surged in this place, causing the ground to rumble. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. He did not say anything to the five of them. Buzz! The four-symbol seal rushed out from behind him. It was mixed with the aura of seal and annihilation. It rushed toward the five of them. Chapter 1576. The four-symbol seal combined with the divining divine skill. The former annihilated the divine power of the five people of the Hanjin treasure sect, while the latter attacked the five of them with a suppressive force. The domineering power surged and once again sent the five of them flying. This time around, the five people from the Soul True Treasure sect were somewhat shocked. Lin Tian was fighting the five of them at the same time by himself, and actually sent them flying twice. Use your full strength. Among them, the young man in black said. The other four young men nodded and immediately moved. They cast their divine abilities and secret skills again, while the great Tao laws also surged out. Lin Tian's gaze was cold as he propped up the reincarnation diagram of the king's territory and immediately emitted a majestic divine radiance. Immediately afterwards, he also cast the nameless Tao law at the same time and fused it with the reincarnation diagram, turning it into his strongest great Tao reincarnation diagram. As soon as the great Tao reincarnation diagram appeared, an even more terrifying aura surged and charged towards the five people of the Hanjin treasure sect. In the blink of an eye, the two sides collided. With a loud bang, the place shook and the five people of the Hanjin treasure sect were sent flying in the blink of an eye while vomiting blood. How is that possible? The five of them were shocked. The five of them attacked at the same time. At this moment, they had already cast the immortal Tao laws and used their full strength, but they still couldn't hurt Lin Tian. Instead, the five of them were seriously injured and their divine souls were cracked. That diagram is too powerful. What is it? And Shui's eyes flickered. She had seen Lin Tian cast the great Tao reincarnation diagram once before, and now that she saw it again, she was still shocked. The terrifying aura made her feel terrified. Lin Tian's body swayed slightly, and his face turned slightly pale. After all, he wasn't just a half-step perfected immortal yet. With his current cultivation level, although he could have the upper hand against five perfected immortals at the same time, it wouldn't be easy. The nirvana of the sun technique was activated, and in the blink of an eye, his chi and blood returned to normal. His slightly pale face became rosy again. Then, he looked at the five young men of the Hanjin treasure sect and stepped forward. The great Tao reincarnation diagram condensed again and hovered above his head, casting down wisps of Tao divine radiance. The five people of the Hanjin treasure sect trembled. After the short exchange, they knew that they were no match for Lin Tian. Go! The five of them gritted their teeth and made a prompt decision, fleeing into the distance. Lin Tian's eyes were cold. With a single step, he crossed 1,000 feet in an instant and intercepted the five from the true treasure sect. What are you trying to do? You've already killed the brothers and nephews of our sect's elders. Do you still want to kill us? Don't be too bold. The black-clothed youth shouted. He naturally saw the killing intent in Lin Tian's eyes. You want to kill me, so I'll kill you. It's fair and reasonable. Lin Tian's voice was cold. At the same time, there was a trace of disdain. These five people had come to kill him. Now that they couldn't beat him, they fled. They were stopped by him, and yet they said such words. The reincarnation diagram of the Great Path circled above his head. He took another step forward, and his speed was extremely fast. In an instant, he appeared in front of the black-robed youth who had spoken. The reincarnation diagram of the Great Path pressed down like a millstone that could destroy the world. The young man in black was both shocked and enraged. He immediately summoned his strongest immortal Tao divine power and charged towards the great Tao reincarnation diagram. However, the diagram of the reincarnation of the Great Path was too powerful. It instantly crushed the divine power of the immortal path and continued to press down. Stop! Stop! The black-clothed youth was instantly terrified. He couldn't help but scream. At the same time, the other four members of the True Treasures sect also shouted at Lin Tian. They all attacked together and attacked Lin Tian. Oomph! There was a soft snort, and Shui attacked. He directly slashed out a ray of sword light, which swept across the sky and slashed towards the four people. This sword light wasn't weak. After all, and Shui was in the true immortal realm. He immediately forced the four people to retreat. It was also at this time that Lin Tian's reincarnation diagram of the Great Path pressed down on the black-clothed youth. It landed firmly on his body. Ah! The black-clothed youth screamed. He was directly crushed by the diagram of the Great Path reincarnation. His soul also dissipated. Instantly, only the other four members of the True Treasure sect were left. You? How dare you kill people from the True Treasure sect? The four of them looked at Lin Tian. They were all shocked and furious. At the same time, one of them also looked at Shui. How dare you help him commit murder? Just now, Lin Tian attacked the black-clothed youth with the diagram of the Great Path reincarnation. The four of them tried to save him together, but they were forced to retreat by Shui's fierce sword. Otherwise, they might have been able to save the black-clothed youth. The five of you jumped out to kill us. When you couldn't beat us, you ran away. When you were stopped, you said something like, "You've already killed a few of our sex elders. Do you still want to kill us? Don't be too bold." When one of you was killed, you said something like, "How dare you kill people from the True Treasure sect?" Then, you scolded me. "How dare you help him commit murder?" How disgusting! And Shui mocked. The four members of the True Treasure sect turned pale. You buzz! Divine lights surged and roared. Lin Tian moved at this time. The diagram of the Great Path reincarnation appeared again and pressed down on these people. There was a smile on the corners of his mouth. And Shui was usually considered delicate, but when it was time to make a move, she would make a move without any hesitation. When it was time to be sarcastic, her words were also very sharp. He had to admit that he liked this kind of personality very much. He controlled the diagram of the Great Path reincarnation and appeared in front of the other four members of the True Treasure sect in the blink of an eye. He pressed down mercilessly. Damn it! The four youths of the True Treasure sect naturally knew how terrifying Lin Tian's diagram of the Great Path reincarnation was. They immediately countered with their divine arts. At this time, the clanging sound of swords echoed, and Shui attacked. A large amount of sword light slashed out and slashed at the four people. This sword light was even more powerful than the sword light that forced the four people back. In the blink of an eye, it sealed all the space around the four people. Each sword light slashed at the four people from a very tricky angle, not giving them any chance to dodge. Suddenly, puff, puff, puff sounds were heard. The four people were all penetrated. Blood splashed out. They were all severely injured. This kind of attack made Lin Tian, who was attacking the four people with the diagram of the Great Path reincarnation, change his expression. It was really not simple. It was very difficult for an ordinary true immortal to attack to this extent. This was because the sword light was not some kind of secret technique. It was simply activated by divine power. However, it could penetrate the four true immortals of the True Treasure sect who had used their divine arts, causing them to be severely injured. This was a bit shocking. However, his expression only moved for a moment. The next moment, he calmed down again. The diagram of the Great Path reincarnation pressed down mercilessly. Ah! One of the four people let out a shrill cry. His body was crushed by the reincarnation diagram of the Great Path, and his body was crushed in an instant. Moreover, his soul struggled for a moment before it shattered into pieces. Just like the black-clothed young man from before, his body and soul were obliterated. In the blink of an eye, only 3 of the 5 people of the True Treasure sect were left. The shock and anger in their eyes grew stronger. In the blink of an eye, 3 of the 5 of them were dead. At the same time, because Lin Tian and the others made a lot of noise during the fierce battle, many cultivators nearby had been watching. At this time, when they saw Lin Tian kill 2 people of the True Treasure sect in succession, many people were shocked. In the battlefield, the three people of the True Treasure sect looked at Lin Tian and Shui Shui. Their expressions were ugly. They had found Lin Tian, who had killed the elder brother and nephew of the True Treasure sect. Originally, they were very surprised and thought that after killing Lin Tian, they could present Lin Tian's head to Elder Du of the True Treasure sect to receive a great reward. However, they did not expect that Lin Tian's combat strength was so strong that he could suppress the five of them. Moreover, with the addition of Shui Shui, they could not stop them at all. They could not even escape. Now, in such a short time, two of the five of them had died at the hands of Lin Tian. Lin Tian looked at the three people, but his expression was still indifferent. At this time, he moved again and pressed the diagram of the Great Path reincarnation. And Shui Shui stood aside and used his divine power to form sword radiance one after another. He cooperated with Lin Tianyi to attack. In this way, the last three people of the True Treasure sect were even more embarrassed. Ah, no! In the blink of an eye, two more people were crushed by Lin Tian's diagram of the Great Path reincarnation. Out of the five people of the True Treasure sect, only a brown-haired young man was left. He was covered in blood, and his face was pale. Let me go! The person begged for mercy. Lin Tian's expression was indifferent. Without saying anything more to this person, he directly strode towards him. With a buzzing sound, the reincarnation diagram of the monarch territory merged with the nameless Dao Law and once again transformed into the most powerful Great Path reincarnation diagram. The brown-haired young man trembled. He naturally knew that Lin Tian would not let him go. Immediately, his expression became menacing. If you don't let me go, you'll have to pay the price too. He roared maniacally. With a boom, in the blink of an eye, the divine power outside his body became chaotic and a destructive power surged out. Self-destruction? In the distance, the group of cultivators who were watching the battle turned pale. Then, the group of cultivators immediately retreated at an extremely fast speed and retreated to an extremely far distance. The self-destruction of an early-stage perfected immortal powerhouse was no joke. Once affected by the destructive power of that self-destruction, even a peak perfected immortal powerhouse might be in trouble. At the same time, Shui Shui and the others were also moved. Whooshing Crocodile shouted at Lin Tian, "Kid, retreat quickly!" Lin Tian's expression was very calm, and his expression did not change. He faced it head-on and directly cast the four-symbol seal. However, this time, the four-symbol seal that he cast transformed into 7 layers of seal diagrams in a row. They were not overlapping, but each Dao diagram was in a direction and directly pressed on 7 different positions of the brown-haired young man's body during the process of self-destruction. An old drunkard had already deduced the four-symbol seal to the 18th layer. He had passed it to him before sending him to the immortal region. With his current cultivation, he could already cast 7 layers of the four-symbol seal. At this time, the 7-layer Dao diagram of the four-symbol seal did not overlap. Instead, each Dao diagram surrounded the brown-haired young man in a direction. This method of using the four-symbol seal was also imitating an old drunkard. Buzz! The 7-layer Dao diagram of the four symbols seal glowed and suppressed the brown-haired young man's self-destruction. This suppressed the self-destruction of a perfected immortal powerhouse? What kind of technique is that? In the distance, many cultivators were shocked. The brown-haired young man had already entered the state of self-destruction, but now it was interrupted and suppressed. This kind of technique was really a little shocking. Even Shui Shui, Whooshing Crocodile, and Little Taichu were shocked. Yu. Chapter 1577. The brown-haired youth from the True Treasure sect was shocked, enraged, and terrified. Lin Tian had stopped his final self-detonation. Yu, his eyes widened as he stared at Lin Tian. The madness and ferocity of his previous decision to self-detonate had vanished, replaced by utter terror. Lin Tian glanced at the youth coldly. With a thought, the 7 seals of the four symbols glowed and pressed down mightily. Ah, the power of annihilation was vast and mighty. The 7 Tao diagrams of the 4 symbols turned into a vortex that swallowed the brown-haired youth, stopping a true immortal self-detonation and then killing him. In the distance, the group of cultivators was filled with shock. Lin Tian himself didn't show much emotion. His feet swayed slightly, and he returned to Shui's side in the blink of an eye. You're only a half-step true immortal. How could you stop a true immortal's self-detonation so easily? And Shui's eyes widened. Lin Tian, a half-step true immortal, was able to suppress an early-stage true immortal. She was already shocked. She didn't expect that Lin Tian would be able to stop an early-stage true immortal's self-detonation so easily. Suppressing a true immortal's self-detonation was dozens of times more difficult than suppressing a true immortal. I just happen to have a divine art with powerful sealing power. It's perfect for dealing with a cultivator's self-detonation. Lin Tiandao nodded. He didn't say much about this, nor did he care too much about killing the 5 youths from the True Treasure sect. Instead, he looked at the huge bronze palace not far away and beckoned in Shui, whooshing crocodile, and little Taichu toward it. At this moment, hundreds of cultivators had already entered the bronze palace. Yes. Let's go to the war palace first. There might be some immortal Tao talismans inside. We can't let others take them. And Shui said. The 2 men and 2 beasts immediately headed toward the bronze palace. They were not far from the bronze palace, and it did not take them long to reach the bronze palace. When they came close to the bronze palace, it seemed even bigger. It was like an ancient demonic mountain, giving off a stifling feeling. Humans standing in front of it were like floating dust. Let's go. Lin Tiandao. 2 humans and 2 beasts stepped into the cave. Inside the bronze palace, there were many passageways that were intricate and complicated. Many places were also engraved with complicated formation seals. However, they were similar to the formation runes on the surface of the battle palace. They were all damaged and could not display the power of the past. Which way? Pick one at random? Whooshing Crocodile asked. There were too many passageways in the bronze palace, and it was hard to make a decision. Lin Tian scanned his surroundings. Not long after, his gaze fell on a passage on the right. Let's go this way. Why? What did you find? And Shui asked. On the surface, the formation runes on this path look no different from those in other places. However, when combined with the formation runes in other places, we can see that the formation runes here are engraved at the center of the Great Formation in the Battle Palace. The Immortal Tao Talisman engraved in the Battle Palace is at least at the Sky Immortal level. It should be in front of this passage. Lin Tiandao said. He was very good at formations and could understand the structure and composition of many formation runes. He could see that the formation runes on this passage were intertwined at the center of the Great Formation in the Battle Palace. The Immortal Tao Talisman was engraved at the center of the Great Formation in the Battle Palace. Therefore, since the formation runes on this passage were the center of the Great Formation in the Battle Palace, the Immortal Tao Talisman must be in front of this passage. And Shui's eyes lit up when he heard this. That makes sense. Immediately, the 2 humans and the 2 beasts followed the passage and walked down. The bronze palace was very spacious, and the air inside was a little gloomy. Many places were dyed red with blood. Lin Tian and the others weren't surprised by this at all. After all, the ancient peace grounds was an enormous battlefield of immortals all those years ago, and this war palace had participated in that war. Since the war palace was destroyed and fell to the ground, it was natural that many cultivators had died within it, so it was very normal for it to have such a ghastly aura. Speaking of which, the Du family's 3rd brother has already sent people to kill us. Many disciples of the True Treasure sect seem to know that we killed the brother and nephew of one of their elders. Many people have been looking for us, but they didn't expect us to enter the Purple Nimble Treasure sect. Now that we've entered calm, peace, ancient land, many of the True Treasure sect's cultivators have also entered this ancient land. It's inevitable that we'll run into their disciples again. Once we do, it'll be inevitable that we'll kill them. Whooshing Crocodile clicked his tongue, then continued. Most importantly, It's said that the Du family's third brother has also come to this ancient land. Once he knows that we're in this ancient land, he'll definitely come for us personally. He's a golden immortal, after all. If he really comes for us, we'll be in big trouble. It's no big deal. We'll deal with whatever comes our way, Lin Tiandao said casually. Whooshing Crocodile rolled his eyes. I knew you'd say that. Lin Tianyi smiled and continued forward. This passageway was filled with runes, and they were all damaged. The further they went, the thicker the yin qi in the air, and the heavier the smell of blood. Gradually, some corpses appeared in their field of vision, and there were quite a few of them. These people, are they the cultivators who used this battle palace to fight? Whooshing Crocodile said. Should be, Lin Tiandao said. It seems that they don't have obvious wounds on their bodies. It seems that some kind of divine power passed through the battle palace and shattered their souls. I think so too, and Shui said. They continued forward. Soon, more corpses appeared in their field of vision. Whoosh! Suddenly, there was a sound of something breaking through the air. A blood-red light flew over, carrying an extremely cold wave. It was very oppressive. A blood-devouring demon bat, and Shui was shocked. Lin Tiandao naturally saw the blood-red light's true form. It was a bat about the size of a baby's fist, but its yin qi was very shocking. It had a pair of blood-red wings, and its pupils were red and black. It was very fast. It was indeed a blood-devouring demon bat. This was a kind of evil creature that lived in places with heavy yin qi. It fed on the blood and brains of living creatures. Its entire body was highly poisonous. As long as one touched its body, one would be entangled by the poison. Even a golden immortal would find it difficult to resist this kind of poison. And if one was bitten by it, it would be even more terrifying. Even a half-step mystic immortal might die in a short time. There's such a ferocious creature here. Whooshing Crocodile's pupils constricted. Obviously, he knew about the blood-devouring demon bat and knew very well how terrifying this evil creature was. The blood-devouring demon bat was extremely fast, like a blood-red lightning bolt. Its pair of red and black eyes stared straight at Lin Tiandao. In the blink of an eye, it pounced in front of Lin Tiandao. Be careful, Dodge, and Shui shouted. Then, in the next moment, she widened her eyes. Whooshing Crocodile and Little Taichu also widened their eyes. Because Lin Tiandao did not dodge at all. Instead, he directly raised his hand and caught the blood-devouring demon bat in his hand. Kid, are you crazy? Whooshing Crocodile shouted. The blood-devouring demon bat's combat strength was not very strong, but it was a moving source of poison. Even a golden immortal would be poisoned if they came into contact with its body. It would be difficult to resist, but Lin Tiandao directly caught it in his hand. Don't worry, Lin Tiandao. He grabbed the blood-devouring demon bat, his expression as usual. Instead, he lowered his head and looked at the blood-devouring demon bat in his hand. Looking at it up close, a faint blood mist intertwined around its body. This blood mist carried a very terrifying wave that seemed to be able to melt all things. Is this the poison in its body? It does seem to be very powerful, he muttered to himself. And Shui, Whooshing Crocodile, and Little Taichu came over. At this time, their expressions could not help but change slightly again. You're actually fine? And Shui was shocked. Even a golden immortal would be in great trouble if he came into contact with a blood-devouring demon bat. But now, Lin Tianyi, a half-step golden immortal, did not have any abnormal reaction when holding the blood-devouring demon bat. His essence, qi, and spirit were normal, and there were no signs of poisoning. Whooshing Crocodile was also shocked, and Little Taichu's big watery eyes widened a little. Lin Tiantan smiled. Don't worry, I'm not poisoned. Things like poison have no effect on me. Back then, his body had been transformed by the divine sword in his sea of consciousness, and he was already immune to all poisons. And Shui stared again, and repeatedly observed Lin Tiandao. After a full 10 breaths, she found that Lin Tiandao still did not have the slightest abnormality, and there were no signs of poisoning. He's really not poisoned this. She was even more shocked. The blood-devouring demon bat was a source of poison. A poison that could even melt Dao laws, but it was completely useless against Lin Tiandao. What's wrong with you? Isn't this too strange? She stared at Lin Tiandao. Lin Tianyi smiled. There are some reasons, but it's still the same as before. No matter what kind of poison it is, it's useless against me. It's fine as long as you know it. As he spoke, he moved his mind slightly, and strands of dragon patterns intertwined. Together with the four-symbol seal, they enveloped and sealed the blood-devouring demon bat in his hand, and then he put it away. Why did you put away such a dangerous thing? The five elements crocodile asked. He had already recovered from his shock. It's dangerous to others, but not to me. And if it's dangerous to others, it can naturally be used as a hidden killing weapon. For example, if you meet a golden immortal enemy, you can take advantage of their unpreparedness and mix it with divine power and blast it over. There's a 90% chance that the enemy will directly slap you, and then you know what will happen. Lin Tiandao smiled. Wuxing Crocodile heard this and immediately glared again, and Shui shuddered. How sinister. She thought about it. Lin Tiandao was now a half-step true immortal. If he met a golden immortal and mixed the blood-devouring demon bat with divine power and attacked the golden immortal with the strength of the golden immortal, he would definitely not care. 99% of the time, he would directly slap him. Chapter 1578. And Shui couldn't help but roll her eyes when she saw Lin Tian put away the blood-devouring demon bat and heard Lin Tian's scheme. This was simply too much of a scam. It seems that pure combat strength isn't the way to go. Schemes and tricks are still very important. She muttered. Lin Tian was right next to her and naturally heard her. He raised his hand and knocked her head. What scheme and tricks? That's intelligence. Do you understand intelligence? And Shui covered her forehead that was knocked and bared her teeth at Lin Tianyi. She raised her hand and was about to pull Lin Tian's ear. Lin Tian laughed and dodged to the side, continuing to move forward into the tunnel. The tunnel was very long and covered with all kinds of array patterns. The further they went, the more corpses they saw. Moreover, there were also many evil spirits that gradually rushed out. However, they weren't very strong and were easily dealt with by Lin Tian and the others. Just like that, a full hour passed in the blink of an eye. At this moment, there was a sudden flash of immortal light in front of them. Moreover, it carried a very strong wave of immortal Dao. Immediately, the eyes of the two humans and two beasts lit up. This was because it was very likely that this was the light emitted by the immortal Dao talismans that Shui had mentioned before. It was at least inscribed by immortal Dao experts. Let's go. Lin Tiandao's speed became a little faster. Soon, they had crossed more than 10,000 feet. After crossing more than 10,000 feet, the group came to a spacious stone room. The inside of the stone room was densely engraved with many immortal Dao talismans. It was difficult to count how many there were, and they were interconnected with the array patterns in the battle palace. These are immortal Dao talismans? So many? Wuxing Crocodile was shocked, and Shui said, That's right, they definitely are. This is the core of the battle palace. These are immortal Dao talismans. Immortal Dao talismans could only be refined by immortal experts. They were talismans that were completely transformed by Dao and had extraordinary significance. It could be said that every single immortal Dao talisman was equivalent to an extraordinary treasure of heaven and earth. The immortal Dao talisman is really on this passageway. Bretlin really knows the way. Wuxing Crocodile clicked its tongue again. Of course, Lin Tiandao. Right now, he was also looking at the immortal Dao talismans in this place, wisps of light interweaving in his eyes. There were many immortal Dao talismans here, at least over 10,000 in number. However, almost all of them were already dim and pitch black, destroyed in the great battle back then. Among them, only 8 talismans were still flickering with radiance, extremely astonishing Dao power swirling within them. At the same time, and Shui, Wuxing Crocodile, and little Taichu also saw the 8 glowing talismans. They are very well preserved, and each one of them is very valuable. And Shui said happily. Lin Tiandao immediately moved. Divine light wove in his large hands, and he grabbed the 8 talismans. As soon as he held the 8 talismans, he immediately felt the immortal Tao of thunder in his body vibrate. The dense Tao aura that wrapped around the talismans made his Tao power boil. Very extraordinary, he thought to himself. Whooshing Crocodile and the others looked at the 8 talismans with bright eyes. There were exactly 8 immortal Tao talismans. Lin Tiandao waved his hand and gave in Shui, Whooshing Crocodile, and little Taichu 2 each. Refine them, and we will definitely be able to improve our cultivation greatly. Whooshing Crocodile's eyes lit up, and Shui said, You will all be able to improve your cultivation greatly, condense your 9th strand of immortal essence, and then enter the true immortal realm. As for me, I won't be able to improve my cultivation, but I will be able to condense my true immortal chi and nomological laws. And Shui was already in the true immortal realm. Naturally, he would not be able to enter the middle stage of the true immortal realm with just 2 immortal Tao talismans. Lin Tiandao naturally knew this. After a pause, he said, Let's go. Let's find a quiet place to refine the talismans. Strange light wove in his eyes. He could condense his 9th strand of immortal essence by refining the immortal Tao talismans he obtained here. Then, he would be able to enter the true immortal realm after fusing the 9 strands of immortal essence. Of course, he would not fuse the 9th strand of immortal essence immediately after condensing it, because there was still the true immortal tribulation waiting for him. He needed to choose a place to transcend the tribulation and make perfect preparations for it. After all, his tribulation was very terrifying. Immediately, he and Shui, Whooshing Crocodile, and little Taichu walked out of the war palace along the way they came. Hand it over. At this moment, a voice rang out. A black-robed young man appeared silently in front of them. He had a sinister smile on his face as he looked at Lin Tiandao and the others. You've been following us? Lin Tianwei frowned slightly. Judging from the black-robed young man's appearance, it was clear that he had been following them for a long time. He had watched them obtain the immortal Tao talismans and then revealed himself. This surprised him. This person's cultivation was only in the early stage of the true immortal realm, but he had been able to follow them silently without being discovered. And Shui looked at the black-robed young man and said, It's said that the Dark Ink Treasured sect has a secret technique called the Dark Origin Treasure Technique. It can conceal one's body and eliminate all spiritual energy. Instead, he relied on the fact that Lin Tian and the others were the great enemy of an elder of the True Treasured sect, and the fact that Lin Tian and the others had killed 5 inner disciples of the True Treasured sect to threaten Lin Tian and the others to hand over the immortal talismans. This was because once he shot out the divine light in his hand, Elder Du of the True Treasured sect would definitely come immediately. At that time, Lin Tian and the others would be in an extremely dangerous situation. After all, he could sense the cultivation base of Lin Tian and the others. The strongest among them was only a true immortal, and there was no way they could stop a golden immortal elder of a sect. Therefore, he concluded that under such circumstances, Lin Tianyi and the others would definitely obediently hand over the immortal talismans in order not to expose themselves to an enemy of the golden immortal realm. Hand it over, he sneered, and Shui, Whooshing Crocodile, and little Taichu looked at this person with a slightly cold look in their eyes. This person was actually threatening them like this. In fact, if the other party really shot out the divine light in his hand and sent it to the True Treasured Sect's transmission formation in Mount Taining, Elder Du of the True Treasured Sect would definitely know about it, and then he would definitely come to this place. As for the location of the Hanjin Treasure Sect's teleportation formation in the Taining ancient land, it was not a secret. Many people knew its approximate location. Naturally, the other party could hit the teleportation formation with the divine light in his hand. Kid, what do you say? Whooshing Crocodile asked Lin Tian. For the current them, If Elder Du of the true treasured sect found out about their whereabouts, it would indeed be very dangerous. After all, he was a golden immortal expert. Lin Tian's expression was very calm. He said, he thinks he's good at playing tricks. Don't worry about him, just kill him. He never accepted threats. Then, that golden immortal of the Du family, whooshing crocodile frowned. It's still the same old saying. Counter soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir. Lin Tiandao said, when have we ever submitted to others? We didn't before, we won't now, and we won't in the future. Whooshing crocodile didn't roll his eyes at Lin Tian's counter soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir this time. Instead, he nodded with a smile, and his slightly furrowed brows immediately relaxed. That's true. They had been in the cultivation world for so many years, and during that time, they had experienced all kinds of hardships and twists, but they had never submitted to anyone. In Lin Tian's words, this kind of thing had never happened before, it wouldn't happen now, and it wouldn't happen in the future. And Shueishui looked at Lin Tian, blinked, and giggled. Naturally, he had no objection to Lin Tian's decision. Lin Tian's expression was calm. Then, the group of people all looked at the black-robed youth, and they were all very unfriendly. That you're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.